D2 FM. Stick around because Portia's got a great show for you coming up in less than 10 seconds. And everyone.
Local and all social media sites, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So we're going to try to monitor your comments during the stream. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to weigh in. Guys, we're covering several stories today. First, several shootings happening in Atlanta overnight. Let's talk about those. Police are investigating a violent wave of gunfire across the Atlanta area that left at least 2 men dead and 5 others injured. Let's start in Atlantic Station. This is the video that you're seeing here on your screen. Police responded to a triple shooting inside an apartment at the 17th Street Lofts in Atlantic Station. Just before 6 yesterday evening, officers found a 23-year-old man shot in the torso. Sadly, he did die at Grady Hospital. A 26-year-old man and a 32-year-old woman were also shot in the arm. At last check, they were in stable condition. Expected to be okay. Detectives haven't said just yet what led up to the gunfire here at Atlantic Station or given out a possible suspect description, but they did tell us a stray bullet went through the wall and into another unit. So scary situation there for all parties involved, including that person who wasn't involved in the shooting, but a stray bullet went into their home. Moving now to Southwest Atlanta. 3 hours later, homicide detectives found themselves at an apartment complex on North Camp Creek Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. That's where 2 men were shot. One of them, who was about 24 years old, died at the scene. These people involved in these shootings, guys, are very young. Investigators didn't give out any motives or suspect description here for this shooting, but they do not believe the gunman and victims, or they do believe the gunman and victims and this shooting knew each other. And staying in Southwest Atlanta, 10 minutes before this shooting, a traffic accident escalated into a gunfight at a Southwest Atlanta intersection of Donnelly Avenue and Lee Street. Police say the men involved started arguing first, and that argument led to shots being fired. Both ended up getting hit. Now, they were alive at last check, but guys, again, these shootings across the area, I know some happened in the LaGrange area as well. And Carrollton. But we'll monitor these situations and bring you updates as the investigation continues. Let's talk about the war in the Middle East. The Pentagon saying that it's achieved all goals in Operation Epic Fury as this war enters week 5. So we've been here for a few weeks, for a handful of weeks now. Again, the Pentagon saying it's achieving all its goals in Iran. But Iran continues firing back at Gulf neighbors and U.S. allies, raising some questions about how long the military operations will continue. U.S. forces hit an ammunition depot in Iran with about 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs. This triggered a massive explosion. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth spoke today in a press conference, and he said, quote, Iran has shut off the internet to 99.9%, so nearly all of its population. If Iran is wise, they will cut a deal. And he says President Trump doesn't bluff and he does not back down. But those threats don't seem to be moving the needle with Iranian officials. Again, we've been reporting here that President Trump saying these peace talks they're having are progressing. Iran going against that. President Trump says if Iran doesn't open up the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will blow up their power plants, oil infrastructure and desalination plants, which is a major escalation here in this conflict. 20% of the world's oil, as we've been saying, flows through the Strait of Hormuz, and its closure has helped push the price of gas above $4 a gallon in the U.S. And I checked AAA's website earlier today. Gas increased for the state of Georgia, for the U.S., and then also about 1 cent for the Atlanta area. But now the U.S. has more than 50,000 troops in the Middle East region. President Trump is also telling nations who don't want to get involved in this war, go get your own oil. And he's quoted saying that, go get your own oil. We'll continue to follow this war as well, and hopefully we can get an end to it. Moving now to the DHS shutdown, which drags on now in its 46th day. We know that this has been impacting several agencies, including TSA. Officials say there were fewer TSA absences, though, this week as workers finally got their paychecks. But lawmakers cannot seem to get any attempts at funding the Department of Homeland Security off the ground. DHS says most TSA workers have been fully paid for the last 2 pay periods. And long frustrating airport lines are easing, which is some good news here. But that relief may be taking pressure off lawmakers with no deal yet on DHS funding. Congress did leave for Easter recess without an agreement after talks collapsed over immigration. Republicans have spent the last several days pointing fingers at each other. GOP senators pushed a plan to fund most of DHS, but House Republicans rejected that plan. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's ready to bring lawmakers back if a deal emerges. Meanwhile, Democrats are holding firm, and we've been hearing this same theme from them. They're demanding changes to ICE. They don't want to fund DHS unless changes are made to immigration rules and policies. But this impact here goes beyond airports and TSA. Thousands of workers at FEMA, the Coast Guard, and federal cybersecurity are still without pay. Officials do warn with global tensions rising, this is no time for funding stalemate. President Trump says he'll host lawmakers for an Easter dinner if they come back to the nation's capital and strike a deal. So those are some of our top headlines we're following. We'll get to more of those later this afternoon. But first, I do want to bring in our Tanya Mendoza. She's our assignment manager. She's going to talk about what Fox 5 News is working on today. Tanya, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, so let's get to it. I want to mention our reporter Annie Mapp has been in touch with the family of Patience Price. She is an 18-year-old that passed away this weekend after a car accident in Douglas County. It was at Chapel Hill Road and Rosemont Drive. Around 3:36 in the morning, according to Georgia State Patrol. I'm going to look over at my screen here and kind of read a little of the narrative from the press release. But basically what Georgia State Patrol said was that the vehicle left the roadway on the right shoulder, struck an embankment, became airborne, and overturned multiple times during the crash. The front seat passenger, Patience Price, 18 years old, is believed to have been unrestrained and was ejected from the vehicle. She passed away at the scene. The driver sustained only minor visible injuries, and a rear seat passenger was transported to Grady Hospital with serious injuries. It's said that it was prom night for her. She's known as Pei. Her family is in touch with our reporter, Annie Mapp, and we'll probably have a Night Side reporter at a vigil that's going to take place at Hunter Park off of Gurley Road in Douglasville tonight. So that vigil is at 7:30 p.m. Jasmine?
Yeah, thanks for updating us on this story here. Very sad story. Prom night, supposed to be a special night for teens, and then it ends in this tragedy. I did see in reports that some of the individuals in the car, including the victim who died here, they were not wearing seatbelts. Is that true?
What they're saying is she was not wearing a seatbelt, and she was a front seat passenger. I also want to mention that in the police write-up that they sent over to us, it says that the driver showed no signs of impairment. So there was no signs of impairment. It was just a crash, unfortunate crash. And, they're going to investigate this as they do all accidents, but really sad news for that family and for the community out in Douglasville.
Absolutely, and looking forward to see what Annie Mapp can get on the story here. Moving now to another story involving students. Students are speaking out, using their voices against pandering and prostitution. What's going on here, and what sparked the students' interest in this topic and to stand up and speak out against this?
That's right. Well, this morning in our morning meeting, reporter Angelique Proctor pitched a story. It's actually in Fayette County, and it involves a private school in Fayette County. And they are advocating for a law to crack down on pandering and prostitution. And this is the students that are advocating for this. So after securing a state senator's sponsorship, the bill, which upgrades these offenses from misdemeanors to felonies, has officially been passed in both the House and Senate. So we'll have all the details on that story. We'll hear from the students, and Angelique Proctor will bring that to us later on.
All right, thanks, Tanya. Yes, I think it's so important to get those students, and I'm looking forward to that story later just to hear their side of things. And
That's right,
what
because
sparked
you
their
know what?
interest.
It's always it's fascinating to me when high school students, elementary students just go ahead and see an issue and take a stand. I think we don't do enough of those stories, but today we'll have one. So super excited to hear that story from Angelique.
And I do think it is important for students to take a stand in what they believe in. So good for these students here. Very good news for them. Moving forward, we know TSA workers have been struggling, but they did start receiving paychecks, which is good news. Tyler Perry also has helped them. So we know that he gave some gift cards, right, to TSA workers.
That's right. And actually today I spoke with somebody from inside Tyler Perry's camp who provided a little background on this story. So last week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, Tyler Perry actually went out to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport and tried giving the TSA workers money because of the shortage and them not receiving paychecks. He felt like he needed to go out there and try to help. Well, because, as you know, workers, federal workers, and rules and regulations, he couldn't actually give them money, is what he was told. So he came back the next day and had gift cards. And he was working through TSA with those gift cards. So after he gave him the gift cards, he was hearing that the gift cards may have been an issue. So at that point, he just reached out to DHS and TSA directly. I believe he sent a letter or some document, and he wanted to clear up that it is all good and they are able to keep those gift cards. So that's a bit of good news for the TSA workers.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been seeing, I'm glad that Tyler Perry is helping out. I've been seeing different efforts to help TSA workers, from donation boxes being set up in airports out west. And then I also saw some local groups, or not local groups, but local organizations helping out TSA workers in DC. So it's nice to see all of these organizations and entities, Tyler Perry as well, coming together to support these TSA workers who shouldn't have to work without pay.
Exactly. It's nice to see that everybody's coming together to try to help them out in a time of need.
And our last story that we're going to talk about today, the U.S. District Attorney, or the U.S. Attorney for Northern District of Georgia, holding a press conference today at 2. I know Angelique is on the story. Is this regarding civil rights issue?
Actually, it's not Angelique. It's Tyler Fingert.
Oh,
so we went from Tyler Perry, and now we're going to Tyler Fingert.
Okay.
Yes, Tyler Fingert's out there. He has to get in at 1:30 to set up. He's with photographer Jim Zorn. The one little issue that we deal with logistics sometimes in that federal building is going live from inside. So if we're allowed to go in and we can get live, we're going to bring you that press conference, major press conference by the U.S. Attorney here at the Richard Russell Federal Building in Atlanta. Hopefully we'll get more details and we'll get that on ASAP in the 2 o'clock hour.
Absolutely. Tanya, thank you for joining us to talk about what Fox 5 is working on today. We'll let you get back to assignment managing there. And let's go ahead, guys, and take a live look here at beautiful outdoors. I'm hearing that we have a warm week ahead here in the city of Atlanta. And Alex Forbes, our meteorologist, is here to talk about that warm weather.
Yeah, so 78 right now here in Atlanta. Certainly a warm one, no doubt. And it's only, 1:13 in the afternoon. So we've got several hours to go of heating through the day today. 77 right now in Covington, 79 in Eatonton, 74 in Blairsville, 76 in Gainesville at this hour. Fox 5 Live Viper is all quiet, and we expect it to remain mostly that way through the afternoon, but a couple of scattered showers will be possible. And across the southeast here, not a whole lot going on. You see that flow coming in off the Atlantic, coming in off the Gulf. That's really going to help drive the moisture today and for tomorrow across metro Atlanta and North Georgia. That's going to fire up a couple of scattered showers. But 82 is what we're doing today. 81 over in Canton, 80 in Gainesville, 81 in Athens, 82 in Eatonton, and 82 down in Thomaston. That's what you're talking about, though, the warm numbers here in the days to come. We're going to come close to some records, but we're not going to quite defeat them. We are going to see, mid 80s. No doubt, but the record stuff, the 86, the 87, the 88, that one I'm just not too sure about. So unfortunately, when we're talking about this next year, we're not going to be talking about 2026. We're going to not be at least reaping the benefits of the warmth, if you will, in the terms of remembering it. Here we go with the chance of rain, relatively unsettled, 20% today, 30% tomorrow. So there will be many people who go both days, who go through Saturday without seeing any rain, but there will also be a number who do. So that's just the nature of this pseudo summertime pattern we're going to have across the area. The one thing I feel really good about is a cold front on Easter Sunday. It does look like that favors the back half of the weekend. So later in the day, Sunday, the sunrise services look mostly okay. The late morning looks okay. It's once you get into the early afternoon and evening that we're going to be mixing in that storm chance. So we need the rain. We're going to have the opportunity to get it there on Easter Sunday, clearing out for Monday and more seasonable. So 70, your high temperature to there with partly cloudy skies before we start a new warm up likely into that first full week of April.
Oh man, I can't believe it's going to rain on Easter. People are going to have to bring out their umbrellas when they go to church and stuff.
Well, and just because we're getting into that time of year, it's a good reminder. An umbrella, not necessarily the best idea if there's lightning outside, which when that comes through, we would have the opportunity to potentially see some lightning.
Oh man. Okay, Alex, thanks so much for sharing the forecast for us. We'll let you get back to weather, your weather duties there, guys. A spring break is almost here for a lot of students. I know many of you maybe have already had spring break, but where I'm from, their spring break is next week. So it's upon us, and many of you will be spending time in the water. Coming up, we'll have some safety tips for families who are participating in water activities. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live here. Spring break is almost here for some students out there. A very exciting time, but we all want you to be safe. So let's go ahead and bring in Megan Bushy. She is a general manager with Big Blue Swim School. Hi, Megan. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for joining us to give us some tips on how we can stay safe when it comes to the water for spring break. Now,
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for having us. We love talking about safety here at Big Blue.
So first, let's talk about some of the most common mistakes that you all see when it comes to water safety.
Mhm. Some of the most common mistakes we see are not making a plan when we go to the waterfront, whether you have small children, older children, children with varying abilities of swim. We want to have a plan when we go to that waterfront. Who is a strong swimmer? Who isn't? Who is the designated water watcher? So is mom going to be in? Is dad going to be in? Who has an eye on the kids while they go and relax? We really want to have that plan when we go to the waterfront. We want to make sure we have a phone to contact anybody in case of an emergency. We want to make sure that we acquire CPR if we can to be a good certified water watcher. We also want to make sure that if we don't maybe have strong swimmers, that we enroll in swim lessons before we go to this waterfront. Even just having a couple of swim lessons, even for young children, reduces that chance of drowning by quite a bit.
Thanks for sharing. What else should be included a part of this plan? I know that I took swimming lessons as a kid, but what else should parents keep in mind?
The safest thing to have your children that can't swim in is a U.S. Coast Guard certified life jacket. That is the safest thing to have your children in and around bodies of water. So have that ready and packed if you have a swimmer that is not a strong swimmer. We also want to make sure that we are always swimming with a buddy. So the children should never be around the pool area without a supervisor. Children should never be swimming alone. Even if they are strong swimmers, there should always be at least 2 people together swimming. That goes for adults as well. And then we also want to make sure that we find and reduce water hazards. So maybe we're going camping. Is there a pond or a creek nearby? Drowning is something that's very silent. We want to make sure that we know where our little ones are at all times. We want to make sure that we're blocking the access to those water features.
And so when it comes to drowning, something so scary that anyone, it's scary for those who are involved and those who are watching. So what can a bystander do, even a child do, if they do see somebody drowning in the water?
Act and respond fast. Go and find the nearest adult. If you are old enough and you know how to dial 911, call up and dial 911. We always want to make sure that we respond fast in these situations, and we don't want to give it the benefit of the doubt. If you see something, say something.
Thanks for sharing. And talk about, you mentioned in your notes here, back floating is important. Talk about, for kids who don't have swimming lessons or who haven't had swimming lessons, why is back floating important when it comes to water safety?
Backfloating is such an imperative survival skill, and that's not just for children, that's for anybody. Floating on your back is something you can do in perpetuity for a long time. So one of the first things you want to work on with your children is being able to float on your back and be a strong floater. If you can turn and float on your back and swim, and turn and float on your back and swim, you have a higher chance of making it to a ledge or making it to a water's edge and climbing out.
And what other safety tips do you have for parents or just guardians with children?
Always make sure that we have a plan around water. Children should know how to dial 911 and where the phone is. They should know the name of their parents. You should drill what their phone numbers are. You should also drill what your address is should you become separated. An emergency responder has to take your child out of the body of water and you happen to not be near. But really the biggest thing is monitoring and being that effective water watcher and making sure that we are blocking access to areas of water that we don't want kids to be without our presence. We also want to drill our children that they need to ask their grown-up or their adult permission before they enter the body of water.
And while some people are going to the pools, others may be going to beaches. Talk about rip currents and the dangers of them.
Always pay attention to your flags at the beaches and open bodies of water. If you see a red flag or a yellow flag, it may not be a good day to go in the water. Maybe we stay and build sand castles. Rip currents are definitely something that even a seasoned swimming adult should be wary of. It can drag you out from shore quite far. You always want to make sure that you pay attention to your weather forecast, especially this time of year. Weather this time of year comes up on us fast. If you have storms populating in the afternoon, you want to pack up the car before the storm really arrives.
Thanks for sharing all these tips. I know kids won't be doing this, but want to touch on alcohol and how that impacts water safety as well for the parents out there.
Absolutely. Alcohol is something that when we're actively water watching, we really don't want it in our system. It dulls our senses, it can lower inhibitions, it can make us think we're invincible. It's really safer just to have water and something that hydrates you, because the other thing that can happen is even if you feel like you're not impaired, you can get tired very quickly in a strong current.
Megan, thanks so much for joining us today to talk about these important tips that people need to know as they head out for spring break trips. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
All right, guys, some great tips there from Megan Bushy with a swim academy. Let's move forward now. A free event today is helping set seniors on a path toward a healthier future. Sampson Health and Fitness Center in Stonecrest has a free fitness prescription kickoff. A local coach with a passion for working with older adults led the session. Fox 5's Paul Milliken has a look.
Welcome to the party, everybody. Oh boy, is it a party. The music is cranking and the people are moving right now. We're at the Sampson Health and Fitness Center here in Stonecrest. And right now, this is the launch of Prescription Fitness. And fitness is spelled F-I-T-T, fitness. So that stands for frequency, intensity, type, and time. All of this has to do with that man standing on stage. That is Regé-Jean Johnson, otherwise known as the Guru of Abs. Now, he has made it his mission to get seniors moving. And so with Prescription Fitness, he's trying to get people to think of movement as medicine. He wants doctors to prescribe movement as medicine, and especially for seniors, getting people active as they age. So let's just walk through class for a minute, because as you see, it's a vibe in here. And I'll tell you, when we're taping this little segment for you right now, this is only the beginning, all right? It gets more and more hype as the class goes on, and you can tell people here are having a really good time. How you feeling right now?
Excellent.
You feeling good working out?
Love it.
You are looking amazing. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, great.
You feeling good?
Great.
Getting it going right now, working up a sweat a little bit, burning some calories. How you feeling?
Wonderful.
Good. I'm glad to see you all. You are putting me to shame. Oh, wait, she's singing a little bit. Pretty young thing. That's right. I love the vibe in here. So this class, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you feeling?
Fine.
Yeah, you like coming to this class?
Okay, yeah.
Regé-Jean, he's amazing, right?
Yes, he is.
He is amazing. Gets everybody so hyped up. So again, what they're doing is different low-impact movements. And oh, we are moving. Okay, look, that man ran into you. He's in trouble, right? He's in trouble. All right, we need to get him working out, right?
Yeah.
That's what I say too. Absolutely. As we make our way up to the stage, you can tell how you feeling. I know. We're not trying to interrupt your workout here. We know this is important stuff going on right now. And again, the idea is that everybody here is going to be incorporating this into their daily lives, making this part of a routine, moving and using movement as medicine. Now come with me, because I want you to see what it looks like when we're up on the stage. It is amazing to look out and see hundreds of seniors, and today's event is completely free. Not just free, it's also being live streamed right now, so there are people at home that are working out along with everybody up here. So now, here we go, up on the stage. I'm walking back here because I want you guys to see what this looks like. This is amazing. It's like a rock concert up here when you get the DJ back here and you get Regé-Jean Johnson leading the crowd here toward a healthier life. If you are interested in learning more about what he does, the Guru of Abs, it's very easy. You can follow him on Instagram. And of course, this again is the Sampson Health and Fitness Center. They do this class every Tuesday and Thursday, and you can tell it is a vibe. Work out, everybody. Get it going. Get those abs moving.
All right, that sounds good. I might need to go see the Guru of Abs there, but good time for seniors. Tomorrow is a big day for NASA. We'll have details on the Artemis II launch, which is set to happen in a little more than 24 hours. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. We're getting more details on that crash involving Tiger Woods last week. A very crazy situation here. I know Tiger Woods, has been involved in various crashes and numerous crashes over the years. But let's talk about this recent one. So Tiger Woods, there you see him on his screen. His eyes were bloodshot and glassy, according to officials. His pupils dilated, and he had hydrocodone pills in his pocket when he interviewed at the scene of this car crash last week in Florida. This is according to a sheriff's office report. They released this today. Woods' movements, they say, were slow and lethargic. So remember, it wasn't known at first if he was under the influence of alcohol, but police did say they believed he was under the influence of some sort of drugs or medication. So here we have it. He had hydrocodone pills. Officials say he was sweating as he talked to deputies and told them he had taken prescription medication earlier that morning. This is according to the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Deputies found 2 white pills, which were identified as opioid hydrocodone, used to treat pain, and they found this in his pocket. When asked by a deputy if he took any prescription medications, Woods said, "I took a few." Woods also told deputies he had been looking at his phone and fiddling with the radio before he clipped a truck in front of him. The golfer was traveling at high speeds on a beachside residential road on Jupiter Island when his Land Rover clipped the truck and rolled onto its side. A scary situation for Tiger Woods and the person in that other car. Again, this is all according to the sheriff's office, which noted Woods showed signs of impairment. The truck had $5,000 worth of damages. The truck driver and another person did help Woods out of his vehicle, with the golfer needing to climb out from the passenger side. But neither Woods nor the truck driver were injured. So good news here in this situation. During a field sobriety test, deputies noticed Woods limping and that he had a compression sock over his right knee. The golfer explained that he had gone through 7 back surgeries and over 20 leg operations, and that his ankle seizes up while walking. We do know that Tiger Woods did he did pass a sobriety or a field sobriety test there. Woods' agent at Excel Sports has not responded to multiple messages seeking comment, and no one from Woods' camp or his PGA Tour, he is on board and or has said anything as well, has commented since his arrest. Again, no one from his camp or the PGA Tour. Woods, who has been involved again in other crashes over the years, is charged with driving under the influence, property damage, and refusal to submit to a lawful test. He is scheduled for arraignment on April 23rd. So he did on the scene deny, or he did not want to do a urinalysis. So online court records do not list an attorney for him, and under a change to Florida law last year, refusing a law enforcement officer's request to take a breath, blood, or urine test is now a misdemeanor in that state, even for your first offense. Again, just an update here on the crash involving Tiger Woods that happened last week. Let's talk about NASA now. Artemis II set to take off tomorrow. We're a little more than 24 hours from the next leg of NASA's next mission to the moon. Artemis II will help set the stage for NASA's grander lunar ambitions. I'm so nervous for these 4 astronauts. I know they're excited, but I'm just nervous for them. The space makes me nervous. For the first time in 50 years, NASA is planning to launch towards the moon. 4 astronauts are set to board the Orion spacecraft tomorrow and take off for deep space. The crew will not land on the moon, though. The plan instead is to circle the lunar surface and test the spacecraft's ability in deep space. The U.S. made history in 1969 as the first country to land on the moon, and NASA says the Artemis mission will go beyond that. So good news from NASA there. This mission will serve as a test flight for the next step of a moon landing, and the final goal is going to Mars. NASA says based on current weather conditions, there's an 80% chance for a Wednesday launch. But in the business of space, the crew says they're always ready for the possibility of a scrub. And I wish all the astronauts and everybody involved with this mission here the best of luck. My thoughts are with them. Moving now to King Charles. He is set to make a visit to the U.S. So let's get into this here. King Charles III is heading here to the U.S. For a visit in April, so this coming month. He is going to a state visit with the United States next month, despite calls for the ceremonial event to be called off due to President Donald Trump's repeated criticism of the British government for failing to support the war in Iran. Buckingham Palace said today that the King and Queen Camilla would travel to the U.S. in late April to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence. Trump put the dates as April 27th through the 30th. Trump also says, I look forward to spending time with the king, whom I greatly respect. He put that on Truth Social. He seems to be very excited about King Charles III visiting the U.S. The visit follows Trump's state visit to the U.K. in September, which was a glittering occasion that was seen as part of Britain's effort to shore up the so-called special relationship between the two countries as the president's America First policies threatened the established global order. But that has not stopped Trump from, working with the UK for refusing to allow U.S. aircraft to use British bases for offensive operations against Iran. Again, the king is heading to Washington for this visit with Trump. King Charles has visited the U.S. 19 times, but this will be his first state visit to the country since becoming king. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, made 4 state visits to the U.S. The king also will travel to Bermuda in conjunction with his U.S. trip. That will be his first visit to the overseas territory as monarch there. So King Charles III set to make a U.S. visit, again, April 27th through the 30th. Let's talk what's trending now on fox5atlanta.com. These are the stories that you all are clicking on our website. So let's bring in Sam Daniel, our digital content creator. He has a look at those stories.
We don't have info about the arrest,
Hey there,
just the
Sam.
picture.
Sam, okay, so first, let's get into this first story. A man accused of making a traffic stop here under some odd circumstances. So tell me what's happening here.
Yeah, so this happened in Cobb County, and police are saying now that this man impersonated an FBI agent. Our Denise Dillon covered this last night if you were watching at 10 or 11, but it is still trending online, and it's just a crazy story that is kind of what nightmares are made up of. Alondra Torres said she was driving on Lower Roswell Road when a dark Suburban pulled up behind her and she started seeing blue and white flashing lights. So she did what all of us do when we see blue and white flashing lights. We pulled over. She said she pulled into a residential neighborhood thinking that it was an undercover cop sort of situation. At that point, a man in a suit walked up to her window, she said, and demanded some identification. So at first she was just kind of like, hey, who are you? Police say the man was Timothy Hayes, and he identified himself to Torres, but he only showed her a Georgia driver's license. So Torres was like, no, I need to see some actual proof here that you're a law enforcement official. Hayes then told Torres that he was an FBI agent and that he didn't carry a badge because of his status, which police now say is false. That's not true. FBI agents do carry badges. The encounter ended, though, when Torres called her husband, and Hayes realized that she was on the phone, so he went away. Police have now identified him, and they have charged him with impersonating a public officer and false imprisonment. He was booked into the Cobb County Jail on March 20th. They don't know, though, if this is the first time Hayes has tried it, if there was a reason that he allegedly targeted Torres, and they also don't know how he got the law enforcement mimicking lights that Torres said he was controlling with a small remote in his hands. So lots of questions are still out there, but the police want you to know that if somebody is pulling you over and you're unsure if they're an actual officer, put on your hazard lights, drive slowly so it doesn't seem like you're trying to get away, and then go to a well-lit public area like a gas station or a shopping center. You can also call 911 to verify that it is an officer that's pulling you over, because they're supposed to radio in when they're pulling somebody over.
Oh my gosh, this is so scary. I don't know what I would do in this situation, but you just gave us some good tips there. Do we know why he even wanted to impersonate an officer?
No. And so the only thing that Torres said he ever demanded was her identification. So he was trying to act like it was some sort of traffic stop, according to Torres and police, but he never actually got her identification from what we can tell before he ended up fleeing.
And he's facing several charges or a few charges here, so he's no longer a threat to the public, according to officials, right?
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting story here. Interested to see what happens here for this guy accused of doing this. Moving now, let's talk about this woman who was wrongfully jailed. How crazy is this story?
I know. So it's a Tennessee grandmother who ended up being jailed in Wisconsin, and police, or North Dakota, excuse me, not Wisconsin. The police supposedly used AI facial recognition that led to her arrest, according to her attorney. Her name, you see her on your screen, is Angela Lips. She's 50, and she's accused of using a fake U.S. Army military ID to take out thousands of dollars from a bank between April and May of 2025 in Fargo, North Dakota. Her attorney, Eric Rice, told Fox that the police department in Fargo used some sort of facial recognition software powered by AI to identify Lips as the suspect seen in the surveillance video. However, according to her attorney, she was actually in Tennessee at this time, so it could not have been her. Rice told the different news outlets that AI appeared to select her face based off of different surveillance videos from the bank. And then eventually police decided that they wanted to arrest this woman, so they took her into custody in October. She stayed in jail until December, until the charges were dropped. And it's just kind of crazy here. They now are saying that they're not sure it was her. They have dropped the charges and they're going to continue investigating, and that the police force is coming up with some different protocols for how to use AI because they don't want things like this happening going forward. But she was in a North Dakota jail from October to December based off of this, and the charges have now been dropped.
That is crazy. I wonder if she's going to file a lawsuit here because she spent 2 months in jail for a crime she reportedly did not even commit. So this is very interesting, and I do believe that authorities or officials there need to figure out this AI and using AI in cases, because yikes. Like,
I know, and it's AI. We have covered AI so many times, and it can be such a helpful tool, but what we have seen is that it can't be the only tool.
Yeah.
It's not give and take. You have to use what you get from AI, but also keep using the tools. And we even use AI here, but it doesn't replace the human. We make sure that we are not taking away the journalist's ability and just using it to help us in certain capacities.
Absolutely. That's important for everybody to know, though. Don't use AI to replace your job, but just to help, you know. So that's important. But I feel very sad for this woman here who did have to spend time in jail for this crime that she didn't commit. Let's talk about chocolate. I'm not a huge chocolate person, but I do have it like once every blue moon. But some chocolate products have been recalled, and it's ahead of Easter.
I know. And so this is a very specific type of chocolate. My coworker Joyce actually pointed out this story to me, and so I'm going to try and get through it. But it is Aphrodisiac chocolate that has been recalled. It's a nationwide recall, and it's because they're containing undeclared prescription drugs. So the chocolate is by Gear Isle, and it's sold nationwide on the website. The two types of chocolate are called Gold Lion Aphrodisiac chocolate and Ilum Sex chocolate. They've been recalled because they contain, and I'm going to try and get these drug names right. I was a journalist, not a science major. They're called Sildenafil and Tadalafil. They are active ingredients found in erectile dysfunction medications, and they mix with other drugs that people can be taking, and it causes life-threatening drops in blood pressure, according to the FDA. So some serious things could go wrong if people take these chocolates without knowing that these medications are in there. So people who have bought the chocolates, again, Gold Lion Aphrodisiac chocolate and Ilum Sex chocolate, are urged to return them right now, and they can get a refund.
Okay, so these chocolate candies are supposed to have active ingredients in them or something, but they just have the wrong active ingredients?
So they're not supposed to have the erectile dysfunction medication, from what I can tell.
Okay.
We're not sure exactly what is supposed to be in there, but they are meant as aphrodisiacs. So
Okay.
you would assume that there are some sort of active ingredients in there.
Okay.
Just the wrong ones got put.
All right. Well, thanks for giving us an update there on that story. Very interesting story there, guys. If you eat that chocolate, definitely take it back to the store where you bought it or throw it away. All right, Sam, thanks for joining us. Guys, your time is 1:46. When we return, we'll take you live to an event where people will hopefully score their next job. Welcome back, guys. Your next career slam dunk is waiting. If you're looking for a job, this story is for you. WorkSource Georgia is hosting the March Madness Career Fair in Gwinnett County today, and our Chris Rosenthal is out there with a look at some of the job opportunities that are being offered. Hey there, Chris. Oh, looks like we can't hear Chris just yet. So hopefully we can catch back up with you, Chris, a little later. We can't hear you. We'll try to get back to Chris later, guys. We can't hear him right now. But again, he is at the March Madness Career Fair out in Norcross, which is pretty cool there if you're looking for a job. Now, if you can't imagine Easter without bunny ears or peeps, this is the segment for you. The owner and chef of this chocolate brand stopped by to chat with Fox 5's Alex Whitler, and they have a look at some Easter specials for you.
Yeah, okay, so I want to walk through everything and then we're going to get interactive. So first, tell us about Jardy Chocolates.
So Jardy Chocolates is a small chocolate and confectionery company. We're based up in Chamblee. We've been around for a little over 10 years now, and we focus on doing everything all natural. So no food dyes, no preservatives, no artificial flavors. If something tastes like blueberry, it's because we pureed blueberries and made jam out of it. We're not using any artificial anything.
Yeah, you sold me already. We were just talking in the commercial break about how so many people are trying to cut back on sugar.
Yeah, I really wish they wouldn't do that.
But still, when you give that spiel that at least everything else is good and from the earth, it's like, why not at least get your sugar from you?
Yeah, indulge a little bit and make it something you can feel good about supporting.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk chocolate bunnies and then let's talk Peeps. What you got for me?
Okay, so we've got our semi-solid chocolate bunnies, which are dark milk and white chocolate.
Okay.
We've got our bunny bonbons, which are over there.
Ooh.
And those are filled with strawberry shortcake, orange poppy seed, blueberry lemon, and apricot almond. And then we've also got our Easter eggs, and those are more classic flavors. Vanilla. Thank you.
Very pretty.
Vanilla caramel and peanut butter, because you got to have the classics at Easter. And then,
oh, okay.
It
I was
happens.
trying so hard to be cool
We are
about
live.
it. You know, of course that happens with me. Okay.
It's all good.
But
And
what's this one?
So this is our caramel
clean
schmallow
up.
bunny. So it is dark chocolate on the outside, filled with vanilla caramel, and then vanilla bean marshmallow. Should we cut this one open?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Respectfully, though.
Yes, of course. So.
Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, so you said that these somehow help the real bunnies.
Yes. So there is a rabbit rescue in Kennesaw called the Georgia House Rabbit Society, and it is part of a national group of rabbit rescues. Absolutely. Of rabbit rescues. So a portion of the sales of all of our Easter stuff is going to go to them to help the real bunnies. I've adopted 3 rabbits from them in the past. I was also a foster family for the rabbits. They are not easy pets. I loved mine, but I would not encourage anyone to just buy a bunny for Easter.
Yeah.
So there's a campaign called Make Mine Chocolate, encouraging people to buy chocolate bunnies instead of real bunnies.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
First of all, Peeps are disgusting to me.
Yes.
And this has that marshmallowness, but it's so much better.
It's real marshmallow.
So much better.
Yes, and real vanilla. We're using grade A vanilla beans from Uganda. And then for our Peeps, it is the same idea, except it's got a chocolate cookie on the bottom and then covered in milk chocolate. And then new this year is our Not a Pink Peep, and these are quickly becoming the most popular. It is a pink peppercorn shortbread cookie on the bottom with vanilla bean marshmallow, and then it's covered in strawberry chocolate. So it's bright, it's fruity, it's a little bit tart, it's got a little bit of floral bite to it. It's really fun.
So you guys have a lot of things going on. You've got Easter, you've got Mother's Day.
Yes.
What else can people expect from you guys?
We are going to be releasing a secret menu in the summer.
Okay, I can't even ask you anything else because
Nope.
you said it's a secret menu.
Yes, things that are not necessarily as elegant as this, but more snack friendly and more fun.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and look back at these little pieces that I've torn down, because what I was really looking forward to were these little eggs that look so perfect, like a real egg.
Yes.
Okay.
So that one is our peanut butter filling. So natural peanut butter, we are making peanut butter in-house and blending it with caramelized white chocolate, sea salt, and a little bit of muscovado sugar.
This is an elevated Reese's.
Yes, I love a Reese's, don't get me wrong. This is...
Again, elevated.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just
and nothing
tastes
artificial.
more expensive.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been great having you.
Thank you so much.
In case you guys are interested, you can find Jardy Chocolates at 3400 West Hospital Avenue, number 102. It is in Chamblee. To check out the menu, and that secret one that will drop soon, just head to our website, fox5atlanta.com, go to the Good Day tab, and click on today's viewer information link.
All right, Jardy chocolate sounds good, Tom.
Delicious.
I know you like chocolate.
I saw Alex biting into that one, and it made me jealous.
Oh yeah, well that is a fun story.
I think we need samples up here. Of
We
those
should have
chocolate
asked
bunnies.
for some samples from
I know.
Alex. But tell us what's happening on the Pulse today.
Jasmine, you know, every night at 7, we're on the Pulse, which of course you can stream right here on Fox Local or watch on the air on Fox 5 Atlanta at 7 p.m. every weeknight. All right, and tonight I got a question for you.
Okay.
Could I entice you in any way to eat a dinner without picking up your cell phone and checking it out while you're in the company of others?
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Okay, well, this Chick-fil-A restaurant in Maryland is offering families free ice cream if they put away their devices, but you have to do it for the entire meal. And I'm talking about if you're with your kids, your family, your parents, whomever is there. A study on the issue found nearly 70% of households have a person using their phone during a meal with others. So this Chick-fil-A restaurant, in good spirit, is offering the families, you're going to get free ice cream if you can go the duration, the whole meal, without picking up that device. We're going to talk about tonight at 7 o'clock if we have family members that just can't stay off that phone during dinner time. But I'm with you.
Yeah,
I think it's rude if you're sitting there at dinner with somebody and then you're scrolling through your phone. I mean, either you want to have dinner with me or not. Take your pick.
I agree with you. Did Chick-fil-A give a motive for this?
Well, you know, Chick-fil-A is a very wholesome restaurant, very family values, very religious centric. And I guess this restaurant in Maryland, of course, I'm sure there's some publicity added in there somewhere, but is offering that incentive to families to get off the devices and get talking to each other and enjoying the meal instead. So,
well, that's a good initiative.
By the way, we want you to weigh in on this if you'd tried this out, or if you have problems with certain family members, or if you think dinner time is a time to focus on each other rather than devices. Go to fox5atlanta.com/thepulse to weigh in, and we'll read some of your comments on the air tonight.
All right, that
All right,
sounds
Jasmine?
good. Thanks, Tom.
So we'll
for
see you tonight
joining
at 7
us.
o'clock.
Yep, Tom. Well, y'all will see Tom at 7 and at 3 today. Sounds good.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, your time is 1:56. I hope that you all do put your phones away when it comes to dinner. But our news will continue here on Fox 5 News Live at 2 p.m.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here at 2 o'clock. We've got a lot of things to get into, as always. We're going to talk about some Porch pirate arrests happening here in the metro Atlanta area. And we're going to talk about a man who's accused of impersonating an FBI agent, among many other stories this afternoon. But first, let's start at our state house, where currently we know that some leaders and voters are opposing a recent proposal to amend big voting changes here in the state of Georgia. And Deidre Dukes joins us live to make sense of this. Deidre, I understand with House Bill 369, this would really overhaul how voting looks in 5 major counties here in the state of Georgia.
That's right, and this bill recently passed the House and Senate, so it is now headed to the governor's desk for his signature, and that is why you saw lawmakers, state lawmakers, and also leaders from 5 metro counties, Clayton, Cobb, DeKalb, Fulton, and Gwinnett counties, gathered here for a news conference this morning. We had District Attorney from Cobb County, DeKalb CEO was here today, also some representatives on the state level who represent the counties that I listed, who are very concerned about this legislation that passed, a Republican-led measure. This bill basically would create nonpartisan elections for the 5 metro counties, the 5 urban counties. They are Democratic-heavy counties, and it would not pertain to all 159 counties here in Georgia, only specifically to the 5 counties that I listed. And that is why so many of those who came out today are concerned, because they say that it's illegal, and also they say that it is blatantly discriminatory. So they did gather here today. They're urging the governor not to sign this legislation. You know, we also heard from Republican lawmakers who sponsored this legislation, and they said that really it was a public safety issue, and also saying that it was an effort to truly ensure election integrity, saying that nonpartisan elections shouldn't be an issue in those particular counties. Although those who were here today, Democrats who were arguing against this, said in part, if this is something that is supposed to create or really reinforce election integrity, why is this something that you all aren't pushing for in all 159 counties? Why is it specifically in the 5 Democratic-leaning counties? And so we did talk to some of those who were on hand today, urging the governor not to sign this bill, and here's what they told us.
If that is the case, then it should apply equally to all counties, all 159 counties, all 51 judicial circuits. It should apply equally and fairly to everyone, and not make a disproportionate impact to certain urban counties.
Now, we have reached out to the governor's office for comment. We have not yet heard back, which is not uncommon. Typically, you have so many bills that head to the governor's desk. So many of those bills aren't signed before the session is over, and so it can really be, weeks out before we learn whether or not the bills will be signed into law, whether the governor is going to veto the legislation, just where he stands with that. But we have been told by those who are on hand today who are opposed to this legislation, Ariel, that if in fact the governor does sign it, that they will file a lawsuit to oppose any bill that of this nature, because they say it is blatantly unconstitutional, and they also say that it's discriminatory.
Deidre, this is fascinating, especially when we think about the midterm elections upcoming and the impact this will have. I can understand critics' arguments from the standpoint that they're saying, hey, if you are trying to make elections here in the 5 most populous counties in the state of Georgia nonpartisan, meaning you would not see a party on your ballot when you go to cast your vote, and they're saying, why not apply it to all of the districts here across the state, all of the counties? Do Republicans have a response to that, why they only want to apply it to those 5?
But we really haven't gotten a clear answer on that. One answer that we got was that it was an issue of public safety. We asked for more clarification on that, and really, frankly, didn't get too much more than, it's an issue of public safety and the fact that they're saying that by making these elections nonpartisan, people could focus more on running governments and less on party politics, in their words.
Deidre, thank you. Yeah, that was a question I had. As we move on here, I know you're going to continue to keep us updated as this moves through. Next steps, wanting to see, of course, whether or not the governor will sign this into law. That is what we are awaiting to try to get a better understanding of the situation. And no doubt, Deidre, you'll continue to keep us updated as this moves through. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for keeping us informed. All right, guys, Deidre Dukes reporting live from the state capitol. Let's go on to some stories I told you about as we started the 2 o'clock hour. 2 people have been arrested in a Porch piracy investigation. So let's get into it, because detectives in Gwinnett County say that these 2 people stole packages while posing as a delivery driver. You can see their photos here on your screen. And ultimately, they say that these people are connected to a string of porch piracy cases throughout Gwinnett County. Investigators say several reports came in during early March involving a suspect wearing a blue Amazon delivery vest, stealing packages in unincorporated Duluth and Norcross. That's when Gwinnett County police detectives work with Duluth police to try to figure out who was doing this. They charged Lance Vance, 37 years old, of Duluth, with felony porch piracy and possession of the tools for commission of a crime. You see his photo there on the left. And then they also charged Pololima Mehelioma, 34 years old, of Duluth, on the right there, charged with theft by receiving. They executed a search warrant at a hotel room where the 2 were staying and found multiple stolen packages, along with clothing believed to be tied to these thefts. So if you have any doorbell camera footages of packages being stolen between March 1st and March 22nd between Tree Corners Parkway and Norcross and Satellite Boulevard, you're urged to contact the Gwinnett County Police Department detectives so they can follow up and see if there's anything that they may have missed. But this is an interesting story to keep an eye on, especially considering so many people do work as Amazon delivery drivers and are able to make those deliveries out of their personal vehicles. Definitely a good reminder to stay vigilant. I also want to tell you about something else that we're following. Really scary situation for one woman who was just trying to drive home. A 39-year-old man has been arrested in Cobb County for allegedly posing as an FBI agent to pull over a woman who was driving home. Now, this is a woman who was commuting home there near Marietta, and she found out, her name's Alondra Torres, she found out when she was driving along Lower Roswell Road, a dark Suburban with flashing blue lights and white lights appeared behind her. She thought it was an undercover officer, so she pulled over into a residential neighborhood. That's when a man in a suit, identified by police as Timothy Hayes, approached her window and demanded her identification. Now, she says that she got suspicious when Hayes failed to produce any law enforcement credentials, instead flashing a standard Georgia driver's license. When the woman pressed him for proof, Hayes reportedly claimed to be an FBI agent, saying that his status meant he did not need to carry traditional badges. Now, we don't know what his motive was, according to police. They haven't specifically said that just yet. But we also are working to find out whether or not he targeted other victims in Cobb County or whether Torres was his first. It's also unclear where he obtained the strobe lights and other equipment used to mimic a law enforcement vehicle. But at this point, the woman was able to call her husband on the phone, and that's when the encounter really ended because police say Hayes realized she was on the phone. Williams later posted this entire ordeal on the Nextdoor app to alert her neighbors, and police got involved. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this story, but definitely something to keep an eye on as we move forward. I also want to let you guys know about this situation because this is really interesting. As we've done a lot of reporting on school speed zone cameras, the Georgia Senate has passed a bill that will allow you, the voter, to decide whether or not school speed zone cameras should stay or be phased out entirely by 2028. The Georgia Senate introduced this bill, and the proposed legislation would also completely eliminate automatic traffic enforcement cameras across the state. Now, as we take a look at this, we've seen a lot of different opinions on both sides. Some have said, like some Atlanta school board members have pointed to this being necessary for people to slow down around schools, to be a warning that people can slow down so that way they're aware to keep children safe. And seeing those cameras basically alerts people to know that they should actually let off of that gas pedal. But then others say it's a cash grab where the goal is really just to write tickets and bring in revenue. And that is the goal there. So we'll continue to keep you updated because the bill, it passed the Georgia Senate, like I mentioned. Now it heads to the Georgia House for consideration. Lawmakers are facing a tight deadline because crossover day is approaching on Thursday. If the bill passes the House and is signed into law, you could see a local ballot measure regarding cameras in your district and prepare for a statewide phase out of this technology by 2028. So definitely something to keep an eye on. No doubt we'll continue to keep you updated here on Fox Local as things progress. So as we continue here at 2 o'clock, I want to keep you updated on some other stories that we're following. So this is something that I know a lot of you guys have had questions about. We've talked a lot about the kratom epidemic at gas stations, but now there's another substance to be afraid of when it comes to gas stations. Gas station heroin is the nickname. Sorry, wish it were better. It's not. And now the Make America Healthy Again movement is targeting this substance. It's starting to really alarm doctors and other health professionals because it's an unregulated drug sold at gas stations across the country, and the FDA now wants to make it illegal. It is called tianeptine. Okay, that is the name of this chemical. It's better known by its nickname, gas station heroin, and it's a largely unregulated antidepressant that can produce euphoria in high doses. It can be more potent than morphine, and it's highly addictive. And now the feds are stepping in. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary tells Fox News the agency's making a major push to regulate the drugs, claiming they hook people the same way as opioids, with addicts needing more and more as they sink deeper into addiction. McCary says this binds to the opioid receptors in the body, and so it functions a lot like an opioid. The FDA wants to classify the drugs as Schedule I substances, meaning high potential for abuse, and only under accepted medical use should it be used. Democrats on Capitol Hill are actually really largely supporting this Make America Healthy Again effort. Some Democrats do claim that President Trump's budget cuts are making this fight harder. But in the meantime, FDA says they're starting a public awareness campaign because they want to educate families on this substance as the regulatory process plays out. 14 states have restricted the sale of tianeptine, including Connecticut, just last week. So if you have seen this in the gas station, or if you know someone dealing with this, let us know, as we want to continue making sure that we understand how this is affecting communities right here at home. But speaking of gas stations, the national average for a gallon of gas has reached a record high, highest prices since 2022. You're taking a look at $4.02 as the nationwide average, according to Motor Club AAA, $1 more than before the Iran conflict. It's also the first time gas prices have been this high since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The United States is a net exporter of gasoline, and global oil prices have been rising. Prices go up somewhat this time of year anyway, as fuel suppliers get ready to switch over to a summer blend with people traveling more. But as producers switch to more of that summer blend gasoline, they're facing a lot of conflict abroad that is challenging this situation. So the White House has a statement on this in which they actually addressed the rising price of gas. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, she says, quote, "When Operation Epic Fury is complete, gas prices will plummet back to multi-year lows American drivers enjoyed before these short-term disruptions. President Trump remains committed to unleashing American energy dominance, lowering costs, and putting more money back in the pockets of hardworking American families." So that is something we'll continue to keep you updated on. But as we continue here with your headlines, I want to keep you updated on some stuff we're following nationally. Before I do that, I see some of you here in our TikTok chat and YouTube chiming in on the regulation of some of those drugs at gas stations. Someone says, thank goodness, these things are really, really dangerous. So yes, if you're seeing this in your community, if you are here in the Metro Atlanta area, let us know where you're watching from. If you're seeing this at gas stations near you, otherwise will help us understand what our local communities are facing when it comes to some of these substances. But let's continue on, because I want to talk about the partial government shutdown and where we stand with trying to end what is now the longest government shutdown in history. The good news is fewer long lines at airports around the country because TSA workers are finally getting paid. Lawmakers cannot seem to get any progress, however, but DHS says most TSA workers have been partially paid for the last two pay periods, or excuse me, fully paid for the last two pay periods. Now, whether that is all of their back pay remains to be seen, but at least fully paid for the last two pay periods. The long, frustrating airport lines are easing at airports around the country, but that relief might be taking pressure off of lawmakers who were facing that pressure to make a deal, and now they're on recess. Congress left for Easter recess without an agreement after talks collapsed over immigration. And we're starting to see this divide even within the Republican Party, because Republicans have spent the last several days pointing fingers at each other. GOP senators pushed a plan to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, but House Republicans rejected it. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's ready to bring lawmakers back if a deal emerges. Democrats are holding firm, saying they want changes to immigrations and customs enforcement. This impact goes beyond our airports, right? We often think of terms of what we can see and feel. And no doubt the long lines at airports have been really inconvenient and frustrating for many people. But thousands of workers at FEMA, the Coast Guard, and the Federal Cybersecurity Agency are still working without pay. And really, with global tensions around the world, with Iran, this is something that a lot of experts are warning. This is no time for a funding stalemate. And not having these departments funded opens the United States up to risk. President Trump says he'll host lawmakers for an Easter dinner if they come back to the nation's capital and strike a deal. But so far, that remains to be seen. In the meantime, I do want to let you guys know that ICE agents are going to remain at airports across the country for now. Even though TSA agents are being paid, and this eases a lot of the stress put on our nation's airports as TSA looks to get back on track. Border Czar Tom Homan says ICE agents are going to stay at airports until operations are fully back to normal. The DHS shutdown, like I mentioned, is now the longest in United States history. And on top of that, TSA has lost 500 agents who have quit during this process. Even if they're able to make new hires, it's going to take 4 to 6 months to get agents trained to a level where they can actually deploy to airports and help with screening passengers. This could cause some turbulent months ahead, especially as we're expecting a record number of visitors for the FIFA World Cup. So this is going to be a very interesting situation that we'll continue to monitor. We did learn more from the FBI related to the attack on a synagogue in the Detroit area. Yesterday, the FBI held a news conference where they say they believed an Iran-backed militant group, Hezbollah, inspired the man who crashed his pickup truck into a Detroit area synagogue, Temple Israel, earlier this month. Now, these findings came after extensive interviews with dozens of witnesses and individuals who knew the suspect, 41-year-old Ayman Ghazali. Shortly after the attack, the Israeli military claimed Ghazali's brother was a Hezbollah commander in Lebanon who recently died during an Israeli airstrike. Now, while the FBI didn't name this brother, they did say the death of family members in Lebanon after an Israeli airstrike likely fueled this synagogue attack. The FBI says the suspect's phone and videos were filled with terrorist propaganda. And specifically, investigators further claiming the suspect spent months consuming pro-Hezbollah content online. And the days before the attack, he allegedly posted several online videos to a Facebook album titled Vengeance. He then began researching local synagogues and attempted to buy a weapon from 2 different people. The FBI says after those people denied his request, he then purchased an AR-style rifle at a local gun store in Detroit. Or Dearborn Heights, along with 10 rifles 10 magazines for that rifle. And then on the day of the attack, the FBI says the suspect allegedly spent hours in the Temple Israel parking lot, sending over a dozen videos to his sister overseas. And one of them, he says, quote, according to the FBI, I will kill as many of them as I possibly can, end quote. Now, the FBI says they have not been able to identify whether the suspect was a member of Hezbollah, but they do believe that ideology played a role in this radicalization. They say that moments later, the man would crash his pickup full of commercial-grade fireworks and gasoline into the doors of that synagogue, ultimately hurting a security guard before shooting himself after that exchange of gunfire with another guard. So at the time of the attack, more than 100 children were inside that synagogue, but none of the children were injured or anyone else there. So we'll continue to keep you updated as this moves through and as the investigation continues. But as of right now, that is what the FBI is sharing. But this brings us to the latest with what is unfolding in Iran right now. So let's talk about it, because the Pentagon says it's achieving all of its goals as the war enters week 5. Iran continues to fire at Gulf neighbors and allies, raising questions about how long this military operation truly is going to last. U.S. forces have hit ammunition depots in Iran with 2,000 bunker buster bombs. This has triggered massive explosions throughout the region. But these threats from the United States don't appear, at least publicly, to be moving the needle with Iranian officials. President Trump has said if Iran does not reopen the Strait of Hormuz fully, the United States is going to blow up power plants, oil infrastructure, and desalination plants. This would be a major escalation in the conflict. 20% of the world's oil supply flows through that strait, and the closure has helped push gas prices above $4 a gallon, like we have discussed. The U.S. now has more than 50,000 troops there in the region on standby. And President Trump has also said he's frustrated with other nations in Europe and other allies who don't want to get involved in the conflict, saying maybe they should get their own oil. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth says the next few days will be decisive in this war. Take a listen to what he had to say this morning.
The upcoming days will be decisive. Iran knows that, and there's almost nothing they can militarily do about it. Yes, they will still shoot some missiles, but we will shoot them down. Of note, the last 24 hours saw the lowest number of enemy missiles and drones fired by Iran. They will go underground, but we will find them. We recently destroyed another one of their command bunkers. Leaders forced to flee, no water, no power, no oxygen, no command and control. Their faith in their caves diminishing. The latest intel is clear out of CENTCOM. Our strikes are damaging the morale of the Iranian military, leading to widespread desertions, key personnel shortages, and causing frustrations amongst senior leaders. Just last night, we had 200 dynamic strikes alone. But if Iran is wise, they will cut a deal. President Trump doesn't bluff, and he does not back down. You can ask Khomeini about that. The new Iranian regime should know that by now. This new regime, because regime change has occurred, should be wiser than the last. President Trump will make a deal. He is willing. And the terms of the deal are known to them. If Iran is not willing, then the United States War Department will continue with even more intensity.
Listen in. So we'll continue to keep you updated as the war progresses. This was, of course, a briefing this morning with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, letting us know where things stand. As we continue here, I also want to briefly let you guys know, as we take a look at things happening around the world, Cuba has just received its first oil delivery this year. The shipment arrived on a sanctioned Russian-flagged oil tanker allowed by President Donald Trump, a day after he described the island nation as a, quote, mess. Now, one thing we've seen with Cuba is blackouts and other struggles as the country really struggles amid this oil blockade, and as its economy continues to suffer. The president has seemingly issued a new threat against Cuba as the oil blockade continues. Last week, international aid from more than 24 countries started to arrive. Food, medicine, solar panels, and bicycles meant to help people out who live there. People have been trying to find food and running things at reduced capacity because basic necessities are hard to come by. President Trump has been pushing for regime change in Cuba, but he appeared to offer an olive branch by allowing this Russian-flagged oil tanker to reach Cuba Monday. And when asked if this helped Moscow, the president says that it doesn't really bother him much because he doesn't believe it's going to have an impact in the end on Cuba. Experts say the 730 barrels of oil on board that Russian tanker, once turned into diesel, could feed Cuba's daily demand for oil for just about 10 days. So Cuba will likely be experiencing a blackout again here in the near future. As we continue at 2 o'clock, you guys, we are going to bring you closer to home and get you guys an update on your weather forecast. We've got meteorologist Alex Forbes standing by, ready to let us know what to expect as we head into Easter Sunday and Passover. That's straight ahead. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here. We've got meteorologist Alex Forbes to let us know what to expect with our weather forecast, Alex.
Another warm one today. In fact, we're about our high temperature yesterday right now. So that just goes to show you that through the afternoon, it is going to be a warmer day. I was out there at Truist Park last night, felt fantastic. Tonight's going to feel even warmer for the Braves and A's. First pitch at 7:15. Here's what we're dealing with right now on Fox 5 Live Viper. In fact, before we let's do Fox 5 Live Viper. There we go. All right. So into the afternoon, we are going to be looking at this remaining mostly what you see here. Then once we get into the evening, maybe a couple of scattered showers. So that's going to be the name of the game. You do have this flow in off the Atlantic, in off the Gulf. That's what's feeding the moisture right now. And that's also what's going to feed some moisture down to the south. We're going to have our eyes down there on the Artemis launch and see how that shapes up for tomorrow. Now, let's get into today's high temperatures, 82 in Atlanta. So we're at 79 right now, a couple more degrees to go. Look down in LaGrange, Thomaston, Eatonton, much of the same, 83 in Rome, 82 in Dalton, 78 over in Blairsville. And that's going to be the name of the game for the next several days, getting into the mid-80s each afternoon. And then low 80s from Friday into Saturday, 77 there for Easter Sunday. And then on Monday, a little more seasonable. You see today's average high is 70. By Monday, that average high will be 71, but still nonetheless closer to that average mark, certainly compared to today and the next several days. So we will be keeping an eye on the chance for rain, 20% here for the remainder of the afternoon. That's going to be up to 30% tomorrow, 20% on Thursday. And then notice they do begin to go up, the rain chances that is for Friday and for Sunday. Some moisture in the area on Friday. And then once we get into Sunday, that's going to be an actual cold front coming through. And that cold front is going to push some showers and storms through the area, likely during the mid to late afternoon hours on Easter. So if you've got any Easter egg hunts, maybe you can do some coordinating with the Easter bunny, all of that, and make sure those get done in the morning, because I don't feel comfortable nailing down a time frame on the rain just yet for Easter Sunday, but I do feel comfortable saying that it's favoring the later part of the day rather than the earlier part of the day. And please, if you see any Easter eggs flying around over downtown, like what you see on your screen right now, please let us know. So let's get on into your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast here. 82 today, 83 tomorrow, all of that's close to some records, but not forecasting to break any records. Your best chance of rain does come on Easter itself. That front slides on through. We've been talking a lot about a drought. We really need the rain. I know the timing could be better, but we're going to have the opportunity to see that this weekend, clearing out early next week with a high temperature of 70 and our coolest morning next Monday morning at only 53.
Alex, looking at this forecast, I feel like this is kind of on par with spring in Georgia, but we're definitely working our way to this calm, settled pattern in the morning, kind of unsettled in the afternoon, and it feels like this is the summer we know in Georgia.
Well, and I think you're going to start to get into the territory maybe next week or the week after that, you know, how we do the whole fake spring thing.
Yes.
Maybe we do the fake summer thing before too long.
Okay, good to know, Alex. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. As we continue here, you guys, I want to get an update for you because this is a story that's developing and I want to make sure that we talk about it. So as of this afternoon, we are learning from the suspect in the Charlie Kirk assassination case, his defense attorneys, that the bullet that was found in the autopsy of Charlie Kirk may not match the suspect's rifle. So let's get into it because paperwork was filed Friday by suspect Tyler Robinson's defense team revealing new details and also asking for a preliminary hearing to be delayed. Tyler Robinson's lawyers say they need more time to review a bullet analysis that could contribute to his defense. They're asking for that preliminary hearing, currently scheduled for May 18th, to be delayed by a reported minimum of 6 months. Now, the defense team said in recent court filings, which were obtained by the Associated Press, that the analysis from the ATF could not conclusively connect the bullet fragment recovered during an autopsy to the rifle found near that scene. So defense attorneys say they may try to use the analysis to clear Robinson of blame during this preliminary hearing, and they want more time to do that. The ATF's report on the bullet analysis has been kept private, but attorneys have cited snippets in other public filings that say the results were inconclusive. Prosecutors have said DNA evidence connects Robinson to the killing. They have enough evidence to proceed with a trial. Meanwhile, the FBI is running additional bullet analysis tests according to court documents. And Fox News Digital is reporting that the court filing also revealed who prosecutors intend to call as witnesses during that preliminary hearing. Robinson is due back in court April 17th for a defense motion that would ban cameras from the courtroom. His legal team has not responded or did not request that April 17th hearing to be pushed back, only his preliminary hearing. So it is likely we may get more details on this as things progress, but wanted to keep you guys updated as this case moves forward. Also want to let you know that faster Wi-Fi is coming to Delta Airlines via Amazon satellites. So Amazon's new LEO satellite internet unit has reached a deal with Delta. They're going to provide faster Wi-Fi for planes in about 2 years. So if you do a lot of business on Delta, this could help you. Delta plans for Amazon LEOs to deliver internet speeds 3 to 5 times faster than their current offerings. Amazon's LEO currently has about 200 satellites in orbit, significantly fewer than SpaceX's Starlink, which has around 10,000. Starlink has deals already with a lot of airlines like Southwest, United, Alaska, Hawaiian, and others. Delta is going to add Amazon LEO to planes in 2028 with 500 installations to start this process. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated as that moves forward. Want to continue looking ahead to some things we have on tap coming up. It looks like we have a little bit of time. I want to briefly let you know about a update that the Department of Justice and the United States Attorney's Office held just a few minutes ago, where they have updated on that they've reached a $3 million settlement with the Georgia Professional Licensing Boards for allegedly violating the Service Members Civil Relief Act. What all of this means, let's get into it. But first, take a listen to what the U.S. Attorney here in Georgia's Northern District had to say.
I endorse everything that AAG Dillon has said. I just want to briefly highlight why our settlement is so important for military families in Georgia. Service to one's country is truly noble, but rarely easy. It often involves tremendous personal sacrifice. Orders directing soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to report to a new duty station disrupt whole families. Many headaches follow: packing, changing schools, leaving an employer, closing up shop, finding new jobs. Everything changes, all in selfless service to the security of our nation. Today, we honor and recognize these sacrifices, and we say to our fighting men and women that if you must deploy to Georgia, you will be welcome here, and your transition will be free from unlawful burdens. Thanks to this settlement, when military families are sent to Georgia, they can now be confident that their professional licenses will be recognized as required by federal law, and they can seamlessly get to work immediately to support their families. Our settlement follows an investigation led by Assistant U.S. Attorneys Marissa Felica and Eileen Bell Hughes, who were supported by the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's offices for the Middle and Southern Districts of Georgia. The investigation began in 2024 when the Justice Department received a complaint alleging that Georgia's professional licensing boards were not recognizing the out-of-state licenses of service members and military spouses as required by the SCRA. The investigation revealed that many of Georgia's licensing boards were out of compliance, and we learned the stories of many impacted military spouses, including a physical therapist who, after her husband was sent here on military orders, had to drive to a neighboring state every day so that she could work because a Georgia board did not recognize her active and valid out-of-state license. We also learned of a pregnant veterinarian who, despite having a job offer waiting for her here, when her family had to relocate to Georgia on military orders, could not start work or collect a salary because Georgia's boards refused to recognize her out-of-state license. We believe that there may be as many as 5,000 individuals affected by the Georgia board's past practice. Over 40 licensing boards are covered by this settlement, as you heard, and service members and military spouses who believe that they may be impacted should contact my office directly for assistance. In closing, I'll simply observe that today is a great day for Georgia, for the rule of law, and for our military families. Our settlement demonstrates the productive, collaborative relationships, not just between everyone standing here, but also between the four of us and our state partners at the Secretary of State's office, the state AG's office, and the governor's office. Those relationships allowed us to fix this problem for the benefit of thousands of Georgians without the acrimony, expense, or delay of litigation. I appreciate the Secretary, the AG, and the Governor for their support of our troops and for their consistent cooperation with our important effort to protect the civil rights of service members and their families.
So you were listening to the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District here in Georgia. They estimate that up to 5,000 service members and military spouses may be entitled to compensation with this settlement. So you heard him say, if you feel you've been affected with this licensing procedure and being out of state, to give his office a call. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, we're going to check in with our Angelique Proctor about how some students are making a push regarding prostitution and pandering. The penalties they want to see. That's straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here at 2 o'clock. Let's talk about this because a group of young people who attend a Fayette County private school are working against pandering and prostitution, and they're working with a state senator to sponsor a bill that would make this a felony. So Angelique Proctor joins us live to explain how this process works. Angelique, sounds like a pretty dedicated group of students. What's the reason for all this?
Well, good afternoon to you, Ariel. These students are really very bright, very resourceful, and very passionate. They simply wanted to do something about sex trafficking in their community, and they got to talking, and they turned that into something incredible. It's actually a piece of legislation that is now on Governor Kemp's desk. Now, these students attend a school called the Forest School in Fayette County, and as you said, it is a private school. But this all just started with a conversation when someone came to speak at their school, but they turned that conversation into research, and they said they did lots and lots of research, some 400 hours. They came here to the state capitol, started talking to lawmakers, and they decided they wanted to do something that was more impactful to effect change. And what they decided to do is to write some legislation. Now, we've decided not to show their faces or give you their names because of this very dangerous work that they're doing, but let's take a listen to what they have to say.
It's really just passion. We're all very passionate. We heard the issue and we were like, we have to do something about it that's going to stick, not just a paper or like a movement. We needed to do something that would stick. Legislation was our overall idea.
So how long would you say the research went on and how involved was it?
Over 400 hours of research. And we worked with different people, law enforcement, advocates, survivors.
In the past, we've only heard about sex trafficking in passing. It's something that's like, oh, this is bad, but we don't really talk about it because it's kind of taboo. But hearing actually what it is and how it starts, especially with young people, was very enlightening.
And so these young people found an ally in Senator Brian Strickland from McDonough. They came up here and met with him, shared all of their ideas, and he actually liked one of them on pandering and pimping, making that a felony in Georgia. Right now it is a misdemeanor. And if you can believe this, that legislation passed both the House and the Senate and is now on Governor Kemp's desk. Let's take a listen to the senator.
These students have ideas as to what we can do to take on human trafficking in our state. We've come so far as a state. We've made it a crime. We went after businesses that are profiting from it. We've supported the victims. But they said there's more we can do, especially as young ladies. They took on this project. So they emailed me and I said, I'd love to meet with y'all. They came to the Capitol back in January and they presented all these different ideas to me. I said, well, I think some of these are really good ideas and I'd love to work on this. And I chose the pimping and pandering legislation that makes pimping and pandering a felony on the first offense. And it was one of their ideas. And here we are, that bill now sits on the governor's desk.
Now these Forest School students say they want to go even further than this piece of legislation. They say they want to make this a movement. So they're now looking at other states. They want to pass similar legislation in other states so that pimping and pandering is a felony in any state, because they feel like a lot of people in sex trafficking will just leave Georgia now since it's a felony here, or it will be when Governor Kemp signs it, and he has 40 days to do so. The students say they would like to come here into downtown Atlanta, come to the Capitol, and be standing right there when the governor puts his signature on it.
Angelique, a wonderful effort from these students to see an issue, want to get engaged and tackle it. We've got a lot of questions here on TikTok. People are really chiming in on this story. And someone is asking, pandering and pimping, yes, prostitution, no. Why punish the person who might be trafficked? Did the legislation discuss that at all, or did you talk about that?
They said they got that pushback, but they feel like it's very important to make as much as you can a felony. And so prostitution could be their next step. But they want to really make a dent in this industry. And they feel like, they said that a lot of the men or a lot of the people who are involved in pandering actually have six-figure salaries. And they feel like if they're now facing a felony or have a felony on their record, it will actually get their attention. But they would like to see prostitution as a felony as well, or any kind of crime affiliated with sex trafficking. So you haven't heard the last from these kids.
Yeah, I bet we are going to hear more from them. They seem like committed, civically engaged young minds, which is wonderful to see, Angelique. Definitely can understand the argument for making prostitution a felony because it could deter the buyers of sex, right? From the standpoint of if you are someone who is trafficking someone else, maybe you don't want to get entangled in it, but no doubt this could have ramifications for those who are being trafficked. So definitely something that we'll continue to keep you guys updated on as this moves forward for Governor Kemp's signature. Angelique, thanks for bringing this to our attention. I'll let you get back to it. We'll see you again later this evening. Because as we continue here at 2 o'clock, I know you guys here are really chiming in on this story, and it is a concern, right? Understandably, making the solicitation of sex or the buying of sex a felony makes sense, but prostitution or criminalizing what victims may go through is another story. So what is the law going to look like? Will there be loopholes for people who are put in these situations? Those are some of the questions I have, and it sounds like that's some of the questions that you guys are asking as well. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated as this moves forward. But in the meantime, I do want to switch gears here because we are looking ahead to history being made tomorrow with the Artemis II liftoff. You're taking a look right here live as we get ready for the launch of Artemis II. And it's insane because for so many reasons, but especially because it's the first time astronauts are going to blast off to the moon for the first time in more than half a century after the Apollo missions. It is set for April 1st, tomorrow, for that launch, and the 32-story rocket's going to carry 4 astronauts into the final frontier. They're going to orbit around the Earth before their Orion capsule transports them back to the moon and here back to Earth. NASA has not sent a team to the moon since Apollo 17 back in 1972. So I'd like to let you watch a little bit of an animation from NASA that played before their news conference this morning as they discussed the Artemis II mission. And take a look as they tell us a little bit about what to expect.
Good afternoon. You're looking at a picture of the Artemis II crew. It was taken yesterday.
So you're seeing the crew that's going to head to the far side of the moon. This is beyond exciting. Watching that gives me goosebumps. NASA played it during their news conference earlier today, and we're going to get more from NASA as they look ahead to this mission tomorrow. Hopefully all things are a go. As we know, weather can affect liftoff. You're taking a live look there as this 32-story rocket is getting ready for liftoff. So we'll keep you updated right here on Fox Local. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to cover all things related to this historic mission. But in the meantime, coming up next, we're going to check in with our Chris Rosenthal for the latest on a big effort to try to connect Georgia veterans to jobs and work. That's straight ahead. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to see you. And I want to tell you about a big effort to connect Georgia's veterans to jobs and opportunities. Our Chris Rosenthal went out to this effort on part of WorkSource Georgia to try to connect them to opportunities. And Chris joins us live where things are just wrapping up. So, Chris, it is great to see you. What can you share about this effort today?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of the veterans, some of them may be transitioning from being in the service to going to, going into the, into the workforce. Some of them may have been in the workforce, but lost jobs. This was a packed house here just about an hour or so ago. WorkSource Georgia, working with the Georgia Department of Labor here in Gwinnett County at their Norcross site, had about 17 different employers here. Chance for these veterans to come meet with employers. Didn't have to be from Gwinnett; could be from anywhere, really in the state. Variety of jobs, a variety of different opportunities. And I spoke with Yanta Haynes. She's with WorkSource Georgia, just about what veterans bring to the table, why this is so important. You know, what do they bring to the table here?
What do we bring? What do we not bring to the table?
Yes, and you're yourself a veteran.
Exactly,
Thank you for your service.
24-year-old retired veteran, Army, hoorah. But what we bring to the table, as you stated before, is discipline, tenacity, and the urge to make sure that things are done in a proper manner. But we also have the authority that we show up as leaders for the community and organizations that we work with.
And veterans coming in here today, I mean, do they have any certain challenges, or a lot of them transitioning out of the service into the workforce? Talk to me about that.
It's multiple challenges. There's no same background. A lot of them, either they're transitioning from active duty to the civilian life. We have reservists that's coming back from deployment. We have veterans that's been in the work field for a long time that's changing careers, or they just undeployed, underemployed, or doing the transition with economically what's going on now in the world.
Anything they can do to prepare resumes, things like that?
Yes, that's great. Thank you for asking that, because Georgia Department of Veterans, Georgia Department of Labor, they actually have resume building calendar also on the website where you can see to come get your resume built. But the thing is when you work with a DVOP, which that's what we call Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist, we can help you tailor and identify your resume and put it in the right form and fashion that will get you employed and answer any questions you have in the work field.
This event today is in Gwinnett, but you guys work with veterans all over Metro Atlanta.
All over Georgia.
To by the way, about the kind of jobs, the kind of opportunities available at a career fair like this.
Oh, we have from IT to logistics, from admin to HR to also healthcare, and we also have communications. We have mostly every industry. What we try to do is tailor our events for the needs of the community, so we stay consistently connected to our community to find out what's going on. So we monitor layoffs, we monitor incoming businesses, and we monitor people who are actually looking for, because we're partnered with the Department of Labor to get this information so we can bring the needs to the community.
Yeah, monitoring those trends, that's really valuable information. Anybody searching for a job. Two more events coming up, one April 18th and one May 9th. Go to WorkSource website, you can find out more.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Events in April and May, helping our veterans find work, lots of transferable skills. So wonderful effort there. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. As we continue here, you guys, we are looking ahead to 3 o'clock where Tom Haynes is going to join us. We'll have more news coming your way here in just a little bit.
You are watching the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We're live here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom for the next hour. We're going to be talking about stories that are relevant to you, including our forecast for the rest of this work week. Looking good out there today. Not bad at all. Meteorologist Alex Forbes is going to be along shortly to talk about what we can expect for the rest of the week. Meantime, we want to begin this hour with a sophisticated disguise that wasn't enough to keep 2 alleged porch pirates under the radar in Gwinnett County. Annie Mapp joining us now live. Annie, detectives think there could be even more victims out there, we understand.
Tom, good afternoon. Unfortunately, that is the case. Gwinnett County Police reports they have received several calls from residents who say they had their packages stolen, whether in Norcross or unincorporated Duluth. Now, take a look at this video that Gwinnett County Police shared with us. This shows 37-year-old suspect Lance Vance, while allegedly committing the crimes. Investigators say he and 34-year-old Poalima Mahaloma were targeting apartments and homes in the areas of Tree Corners Parkway as well as Satellite Boulevard and Old Norcross Road. According to police, Mahaloma was driving the car the suspects were operating in and would wait outside as Vance grabbed packages. Now, on some occasions, Vance was spotted wearing what police say is a blue Amazon delivery driver vest. Victims of the stolen packages reported the crimes to Duluth Police and Gwinnett County. Investigators say they learned the suspects were staying at a hotel in the area. A search warrant led detectives to find several stolen packages and clothes the suspects allegedly used during the crimes inside that hotel room. We did speak to Gwinnett County Police a little earlier today. They are asking more victims to come forward. Take a listen to what their public
in these areas that may have had stuff stolen around the time from like March 1st to March 26th when they arrested these individuals, especially in that Treehouse Parkway and in that around that Satellite Boulevard, Old Norcross Road. If they had stuff taken, and especially if they have any, doorbell camera footage of it, reach out to the detectives at 770-513-5300 and do a report.
Now, both of those suspects are facing charges, and they were both arrested. Vance faces charges of torch piracy and using tools to commit a crime, and Mahaloma is facing charges of receiving stolen property. Tom.
Annie, are police giving people sort of any way or tools to defend themselves against porch pirates? It seems like something that you can't necessarily control 100%. It's good to see them sort of on the front lines of getting these people off of the streets, but inevitably they're going to pop back up again. What can people do to protect themselves against becoming a victim?
It's such a difficult situation, Tom, because a lot of these crimes happen during the hours when most folks are at work and they come home to make this discovery. One person that we spoke to told me that she received a notification that her package was delivered, but sure enough, she got home and it was no longer there. Some companies do offer some flexible options, and that is really what police are recommending in this situation. Amazon, for example, I know gives you different places where you can go and pick up your package, maybe at a secure box or at a different store. So if a person knows that this is something that is going on in their area, or if they have fears that the package or something important could be stolen, it is recommended that they take advantage of those services.
Advice to be on the lookout and to be vigilant, and to maybe work with your packaging company to avoid becoming a victim. But good to see Gwinnett County Police on top of this situation. Annie, thanks. Also in the news here at 3 o'clock, a Cobb County woman's commute turned into a frightening encounter. This after police say a man posed as an FBI agent and pulled her over. Investigators say that Timothy Hayes used a strobe-equipped SUV to stage an illegal traffic stop on Lower Roswell Road. When you see an SUV behind you and it has the lights going off, some of these police vehicles come in the form of SUVs, and you trust that it's a law enforcement agent. In this case, the victim says that Hayes approached her in a suit but could only produce a Georgia driver's license when she asked him for a badge. Good question, right? Can I see some identification in the form of your police badge? She realized something was wrong and called her husband, causing Hayes to take off. He's now behind bars, facing charges of impersonating an officer and false imprisonment. Also here today, the Georgia Senate overwhelmingly passed a bill that could drive school zone speed cameras out of the state for good. The proposed legislation would hand the fate of the controversial technology over to local voters before phasing them out entirely by 2028. While critics argue the cameras are nothing more than a money grab for her cities, school officials insist they're vital to keeping children safe. The bill now heads to the House as lawmakers race to meet this Thursday's crossover deadline. But again, the Georgia Senate overwhelmingly passing this bill that could drive school zone speed cameras out of the state for good, something that a lot of people find controversial and want to get rid of once and for all. Our I-team did a piece on this, tickets showing up in people's mail out of complete surprise, and the I-team exposed that issue, and it finally has come to the forefront in the state legislature. The U.S. Attorney's Office has called for a major news conference in downtown Atlanta tomorrow morning. Federal officials are expected to announce new developments from the courthouse on Ted Turner Drive. Let's get out to Fox 5's Tyler Fingert, who is there. Do we have any indication yet, Tyler, what's going on there?
Well, Tom, that news conference actually just wrapped up. It was held today. The U.S. Department of Justice announced a massive settlement with 42 Georgia professional licensing boards because according to the feds, they were violating federal law, and it was hurting military families. That announcement was made here at the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta just within the last about hour or so. The agreement will pay out up to $3 million to service members and their spouses who were denied or delayed the ability to work. Officials say this is a first-of-its-kind settlement, and federal investigators say it stems from a pattern of problems here in Georgia. They found military families were being blocked from working despite a federal law that says their licenses in other states should be recognized here. The $3 million settlement is with 42 Georgia professional licensing boards. The feds say those Georgia boards failed to recognize out-of-state licenses for service members and their spouses. Under federal law, states are required to accept those licenses when military families relocate under orders to Georgia, but investigators say that didn't happen. The DOJ says complaints show some spouses were unable to work at all, one even forced to drive to another state just to keep her job. The settlement forces change. Georgia licensing boards must now create a streamlined process to recognize out-of-state licenses quickly and legally. Take a listen to what officials said just about an hour ago.
From now on, service members and military spouses moving to Georgia on military orders will be able to use a streamlined licensing process to continue working in their chosen professional field. The settlement provides for a $3 million settlement fund to compensate service members and their spouses who have been subjected to unlawful licensing requirements in Georgia since January 2023. And there are 40 plus different licensing boards for different professions here in Georgia, so as you can imagine, it's very widespread. This resolution is essential not only to the military community here in Georgia, but across our country. Members of the military and their families make great sacrifices to ensure our national security every day, and they're often required to relocate frequently in response to military orders. Frequent moves create a barrier to entry for the spouses of our service members, particularly for these spouses who face an unemployment rate of 20%, way higher than the national average, and that is why Congress passed the SCRA.
And according to officials, up to 5...
The upcoming days will be decisive. Iran knows that.
Spouses, service members, and their families could be impacted. Again, not sure if you heard me, up to 5,000 is what DOJ officials are estimating here in the state of Georgia. They're hoping that this settlement with Georgia will basically send a wake-up call and a warning to other states who might not be following the rules required, and they say that each request can be capped at about $50,000. Tom?
All right, good information live from the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta this afternoon. Tyler Finger for us. Tyler, thanks. The Make America Healthy Again movement targeting a dangerous substance known as gas station heroin. Have you heard of this stuff? It's been alarming doctors for months now. The pandemic or the epidemic, whatever you want to call it, is an unregulated antidepressant sold in stores nationwide that producers say can be more potent and addictive than morphine. Hard to believe. FDA Commissioner Marty McKay says the drug hooks people the same way as opioids, and the agency is now pushing for a Schedule I classification. So far, 14 states have restricted the sale of the drug as the FDA launches a new public awareness campaign for families. You're paying more at the pump. The big question is, when will gas prices finally start coming down? AAA says the national average has now topped $4 a gallon in many parts of the country, more than before the conflict with Iran. It's the first time prices have hit this level since 2022, since the invasion of Ukraine. While global oil prices are rising, costs are also trending up as producers begin the seasonal switch to more expensive summer blend gasoline. The White House issuing a statement saying, quote, "When Operation Epic Fury is complete, gas prices will plummet back to the multi-year lows American drivers enjoyed before these short-term disruptions. President Trump remains committed to fully unleashing American energy dominance, lowering cost, and putting more money back in the pockets of hardworking American families." That, according to Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, a statement released by the White House not too long ago. Airport lines finally starting to, calm down a little bit as TSA workers return to the job and finally start receiving a paycheck. However, a funding stalemate continues in Washington as Congress heads into Easter recess without a deal for the Department of Homeland Security. House Republicans rejected a Senate plan to fund the agency, while Democrats remain firm on demands for ICE reforms. President Trump says that he's willing to host lawmakers for an Easter dinner at the White House, but only if they return to the Capitol to strike a final agreement. The FBI says that a man who crashed a pickup truck into a Detroit area synagogue was likely inspired by the terrorist group Hezbollah. Investigators believe the 41-year-old was radicalized online following the death of his brother during an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon. He allegedly researched local temples and purchased a rifle after posting photos to a social media album titled Vengeance. He eventually crashed a truck loaded with gasoline and fireworks into a temple before taking his own life. Let's talk about the war in Iran. The Pentagon says that it's achieving all its goals in Iran as Operation Epic Fury enters week number 5. But Iran continues firing back at Gulf neighbors and U.S. allies, raising questions about how long this conflict is actually going to last. The U.S. Threats don't seem to be moving the needle with people in Iran. President Trump says if Iran doesn't open up the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will blow up their power plants, oil infrastructure, and desalinization plants. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, says the next few days will be decisive in the war.
The upcoming days will be decisive. Iran knows that, and there's almost nothing they can militarily do about it. Yes, they will still shoot some missiles, but we will shoot them down. Of note, the last 24 hours saw the lowest number of enemy missiles and drones fired by Iran. They will go underground, but we will find them. We recently destroyed another one of their command bunkers. Leaders forced to flee. No water, no power, no oxygen, no command and control. Their faith in their caves diminishing. The latest intel is clear out of CENTCOM. Our strikes are damaging the morale of the Iranian military, leading to widespread desertions, key personnel shortages, and causing frustrations amongst senior leaders. Just last night, we had 200 dynamic strikes alone. But if Iran is wise, they will cut a deal. President Trump doesn't bluff, and he does not back down. You can ask Khomeini about that. The new Iranian regime should know that by now. This new regime, because regime change has occurred, should be wiser than the last. President Trump will make a deal he is willing, and the terms of the deal are known to them. If Iran is not willing, then the United States War Department will continue with even more intensity.
All right, that was the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, talking about actions in Iran, and many people wondering how long this conflict is going to continue. The Secretary of Defense addressing that issue this afternoon. To Cuba now, where it is receiving its first oil shipment in quite some time. The shipment arriving on a sanctioned Russian flag tanker allowed by President Trump a day after he described the island nation as a, quote, mess. President Trump bluntly telling reporters he expects Cuba's regime to fall. Last week, international aid from more than 24 countries began arriving. It carried food, medicine, along with solar panels and bicycles meant to ease energy troubles, which many warn could turn into a humanitarian crisis. When we come back, Alex Forbes here with a check of our weather next. Welcome back, everybody. Nice day out there today. If you've been out and about, Alex, the work week has steadily been improving. Yesterday, we started the day out on kind of an overcast, cloudy note, kind of cleared up as the day went along.
Right.
Today is really nice and getting warmer by the day.
It is. I tell you, you know what it feels like outside? Florida.
Yeah.
All right, you got the humidity, you got the warmth, and speaking of Florida, a lot of our eyes are going to be down there for tomorrow evening. Okay. So something that I'm just enthralled with is the Artemis missions. Yeah. We had the first one a couple years ago. This one was supposed to be last month, technically, but there were some mechanical problems, so now the launch window opens tomorrow at 6 p.m. Now, we're going to be watching the weather down there at Cape Canaveral closely, because what might look like nice weather to us could be the type of weather that this rocket cannot take off in.
Oh, wow.
So if you even have a cumulus cloud deck over that area, then that's not exactly going to be possible. So they have what are called launch windows. That window opens tomorrow at 6 something, lasts to like 8 or 9 o'clock. So if they catch a break in those clouds, then they can still go. If not, then they have to wait till a window on April 2nd. The reason why they have to wait is because they're trying to line it up with the moon, because that's what this rocket's doing, is going to basically circle the moon, so that's what the windows are built around. So very neat. We'll be watching for that.
Incredible, like what kind of images we get back from Artemis.
I know. And so this is more of a test flight, if you will, because the next step is returning to the moon. Humans on the moon with the goal of setting up some sort of base, and then hopefully Mars. That's the end goal, but that's a long ways off. So
are we getting any kind of like forecast information about launch time tomorrow?
Not only that, but NASA does a percentage go, no go. We are at 80% go.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So yeah, that's just about as good as you can get this far out. So of course, we'll be keeping an eye on it. So let's talk about our weather. It's now 80 here in Atlanta. Forecasted a high of 82, so that's right on track. We still have several more hours of warmth to go because that's how it goes with sunset now approaching the 8 o'clock hour. Friday is going to be our first 8 p.m. sunset of the year. 78 in Carrollton, 79 in Hartwell right now, 81 over in Milledgeville. We got the Braves and the A's back at Truist Park tonight. Got temperatures sliding down into the 70s through the course of the game, and then down to 70 itself by 11 p.m.
The most perfect night for baseball weather-wise? I mean, it's going to be so nice outside.
I was there last night, and it was pretty nice then.
Yeah.
It was pretty cloudy. Temperatures were near 70 to start. We slid down through the 60s. To me, that's the perfect baseball weather. I think this starts off a little warm, particularly if you have that sun in your eyes down the third base line.
I guess so, yeah.
You know, 6 one way, half dozen the other.
Right.
It's all the same.
Splitting hairs here.
Right, exactly. But if we're going to be precise, that's at least what I'm thinking. And then for tomorrow, something similar to today, maybe just a little more cloud cover during the afternoons. That's going to keep temperatures in the low to mid 80s as opposed to the upper 80s, right? If we were seeing straight sunshine, we would have no problem reaching 88, 89, a number like that. Instead, I'm looking for 83, which is still above the average high of 70, 79 in Blairsville tomorrow, 83 in Athens, 83 over in Eatonton. Rain chances, we just updated these. In fact, updated the whole forecast. Notice you do have a higher chance of rain tomorrow at 30%, higher on Friday at 40%. And then we get to Sunday. That, of course, is Easter Sunday, and we've got a 70% chance of showers there. One thing the rain is going to help do is cleanse our air, as we say. Pollen count today was 1297. That's considered quote-unquote high instead of extremely high, but I'm still sneezing no matter how you slice it.
And given the fact that pollen counts oftentimes go up to 6,000.
Right. Well, and
that's not too bad.
That was a record last year when we hit those numbers. I think the 2,000 to 3,000 range is more your typical extreme day.
Right.
But still, exactly to your point, right? It's not that.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
And I hate to keep interrupting you, but are we done with the yellow-green sort of dust? Is it time to wash the cars again?
So it's funny you ask. I washed my car on Sunday, mainly because I needed the inside cleaned.
Right.
I noticed that there's not as much that has rebuilt on my car.
Gotcha.
So I think we're past the peak.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that's pine pollen that you see.
Yes.
The other pollens you're not exactly laying eyes on. They're not that bright yellow stuff. So I think we're past the peak, but we're not done with it. We probably have 2 or 3 more weeks before all is said and done. But something that's going to help that out is cooler temperatures, and that's what we've got on the horizon after this Easter cold front, and that's exactly what it is. Here's my advice. The egg hunts need to be in the morning. The rain and the maybe even storm potential is trending a little earlier in the day on Sunday. So 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., pass along the message to the Easter Bunny.
Okay.
That needs to be your time frame. Past 11 a.m., noon, I would plan on indoor events. But then look at Monday and Tuesday. That, to me, are perfect spring days. Highs near 70, lows in the 40s, cool mornings, warm afternoons.
And I'm focusing in on Saturday. Is that going to be a day where these showers are going to sort of disrupt the day, or are you just putting the chance in there just in case?
So I think we're going to see showers. It's not a just in case type of thing.
Right.
I just don't think many people are going to see them.
Okay.
So that's why the rain chance is relatively low at 30%. So I wouldn't go changing any Saturday plans, but maybe a backup in mind. And then Sunday, I wouldn't say change anything just yet because the timing's still a little bit in flux, but that timing is shifting earlier rather than later.
And it's the rain on Sunday that's going to kind of usher in these cooler temperatures on
it's cold front.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week. All right, Alex.
You could be a meteorologist.
I know. Well, I learned from you. I learned from the best, right? Alex Forbes, and you're going to be watching the Artemis launch.
I will be.
Chances tomorrow.
Yep.
And whether this rocket gets off the ground. Be interesting. I don't know if you still have a picture of the launch pad aerial, but you know, I think back to the shuttle days, and you got to wonder if these are some of the same pads as the ones where the shuttle went off.
No, they actually are. There's like 5 or 6 down there at Cape Canaveral. And I tell you what, if you're sitting at home right now, you're within driving distance of Florida, and you are wanting a sure bet to go see something, I would say this week is probably a good week to go down there because you have a cool mission and you have a decent window and several days back to back where this rocket could go up. I've been there before when they've launched weather satellites.
Yeah.
And it's almost indescribable because it's such a weird sensory thing, right? You see it take off and then you hear it.
Well, and the noise is, even though you're far away, the noise is pretty thick, right?
It's thick and you feel it. And like it's so loud that you feel the sound waves basically moving across. And I was only a couple miles away. I was, in fact, what you'll see probably a lot of over the next couple of days, the press observation site just outside of the vehicle assembly building. And, you know, imagine 10 miles down the road, that noise isn't as strong, but you're still feeling it and things like that.
You know, I live down in South Florida, Miami. We could see it going up from down in South Florida.
I saw one from the Jacksonville Pier a couple weeks ago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. We'll be watching for it, Alex. Thanks. We got new court filings from the case surrounding the Charlie Kirk investigation that reveal that the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk may not match the rifle found at the crime scene. Defense attorneys for Tyler Robinson are citing an ATF analysis that they claim is inconclusive, raising new questions about the investigation. The defense is now asking to delay Robinson's preliminary hearing by at least 6 months to review the evidence. While prosecutors argue that DNA still links Robinson to the murder, the FBI is reportedly conducting additional tests on the ballistics. Robinson is due back in court on April the 17th to discuss a motion to ban cameras from those proceedings. Delta Airlines is partnering with Amazon, we understand, to dramatically boost in-flight internet speeds. Starting in 2028, the airline plans to install Amazon's LEO satellite system on 500 aircraft, promising speeds up to 5 times faster than current offerings. It's pretty slow right now on any given airplane. The new technology will power personalized digital experiences on both domestic and international flights using advanced antenna. While competitor Starlink has already secured deals with several other major carriers, Delta CEO Ed Bastian says this move deepens the airline's long-term partnership with Amazon. Some interesting stuff there. MARTA phasing out its traditional Breeze cards as it rolls out the new Better Breeze payment system. The modernized upgrade is currently being tested at stations like Lindbergh and Midtown to prepare the city for the upcoming World Cup. While some gates remain open during the transition, leading to a temporary loss in fare revenue, officials say the move is necessary to provide a more seamless experience for riders. Virtual cards and new smartphone apps are expected to launch in mid-April, with the full transition wrapping up by May 2nd, just in time for the World Cup. Well, when we come back, we have more on the big Artemis launch, which folks will be watching for tomorrow. Again, that launch window, anywhere between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. According to Alex, weather looking good down there in Florida. We'll be talking about it when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines, live with you here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. So happy you are streaming with us this afternoon. Good to have you on board here today. If you're streaming on our mobile app, Fox Local, it's the place to be. Appreciate you being here with us this afternoon. If you're watching through one of your live channels at home, welcome to you as well. Or on one of our social media sites on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you are. We certainly appreciate you streaming with us and adding your comments, all of which we kind of scroll through to get a gauge on what you guys think of the stories that are happening today. Or if you happen to be in your vehicle, listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, we're glad you're listening today as well. The NTSB held a public meeting, all right, where members and experts scrutinize automation technology in vehicles. That's exploding right now. And so the NTSB is focusing a little bit more on that by having this public hearing, specifically following 2 fatal crashes, one in Philadelphia, the other in San Antonio, Texas, both involving Ford's hands-free Blue Cruise partial automation system. The NTSB spoke a little bit about that in this meeting. Take a listen.
In fact, numerous studies have found that when operating a vehicle in partial automation mode, drivers are more likely to engage in non-driving related activities than if they were manually driving.
The recommendations we'll adopt are intended to help prevent similar crashes and senseless loss of life. In the last 20 years, over 750,000 people have died in traffic crashes on American roads. While we have made some improvement over the decades, the number of lives lost, roughly 40,000 annually, remains stubbornly high. I believe technology will play a key role in further reducing fatalities and serious injuries, but I am concerned that the life-saving potential of advanced driver assistance systems may be diminished if we cannot ensure that drivers remain engaged and ready to respond when technology falls short.
Now, both of these fatal crashes involve Ford Mustang's Mach-E SUVs, and both were rear-end crashes with the Fords hitting other vehicles at highway speeds. Well, the countdown is on, as we've been talking about, to NASA's Artemis liftoff, the mission ticking down as America prepares to return to the moon. It's the first time in over 50 years that might happen. Set to blast off tomorrow, the 32-story rocket will carry 4 astronauts on a historic orbit around the moon, so they have to lift off at a specific time. And the time tomorrow, the golden hours, are between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., weather permitting. And these astronauts, when this thing lines up with the moon tomorrow, are actually going to orbit around the moon in preparation for this mission. Check it out. Here's the animation as to how that's exactly going to happen. So it's kind of like a slingshot from Earth, and then it goes back to Earth. Let's see if it goes back out to the moon again. Well, who knows? But we're going to be following this mission very closely. We heard from mission controllers not too long ago.
Good afternoon. You're looking at a picture of the Artemis II crew. It was taken yesterday at Launch Pad 39B with the SLS rocket and Orion spacecraft. Our first launch attempt for the Artemis II mission is tomorrow, April 1st. The 2-hour launch window opens at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome. I'm Antonia Jaramillo, and this is the pre-launch news conference for the Artemis II mission. Joining us today to speak about the launch countdown is Jeff Spalding, Senior NASA Test Director.
Good afternoon.
And Mark Berger, our 45th Launch Weather Officer with the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Thank you.
They're going to provide some brief opening remarks, and afterwards we're going to take some questions from media here in the room as well as online. For those joining us over the phone, you can press *1 to ask your question. So without further ado, we'll kick it off with you, Jeff.
Thank you. All right, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, and thanks for joining us today. We are a little over 29 hours from our opening of the launch window tomorrow, and I am very excited myself, and just coming from the firing room just a little bit ago on my way over here, talked to a bunch of members of the team, and I'll say, normally when we're in the firing room working over there, folks got their heads down and they're working and they doing all the business that we do of the space business, but I'll say there was a lot of smiles today, so felt really good about that. As the team is preparing, I think everybody's pretty excited and understands the significance of this launch. We did talk to the flight crew last night. We had a briefing with them. We had another one just a little bit before I went down to the firing room. We had another briefing with them. Last night was just to kind of go over the day of launch routine with them and kind of a refresher for ourselves and for them, and that went really well. They were in great spirits. And then we had another briefing today just to talk about how the launch countdown was going, and as we'll talk here in a little bit, it's been going really well. Let's see, since Charlie spoke to you yesterday, we've got quite a bit of work done. We started out yesterday. The first thing we do usually is fill up the sound suppression systems with water, and when we start working on getting the liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen systems ready for our propellant loading that's coming up in the future. We did power up all of the vehicles. We powered up the Orion core stage as well as the ICPS yesterday. We did communication checks, RF checkouts on the systems, and then after that we got through all of that work. Then we went ahead and powered down the ICPS because there was no more work for them until later tonight when we power ICPS back up. But of course, core stage and Orion stay powered up through the remainder account. Today we got launch pad ground system configurations in work. We're doing closeouts in a number of areas. We're doing walkdowns as we work through the pad to make sure everything is configured for launch. We're also in work on the late stow right now. We should be getting the Avatar and the bags that we're doing in the late stow going up. They were prepping them in the PTCR down and below the pad terminal changeout room, which is the area beneath the pad where we have some rooms, and getting those ready to go up, and they should be being installed as we speak. And then let's see, tonight we're going to be doing a whole lot of other work as we get ready to clear the pad. We do have some work associated with the Orion ground equipment and systems that we use to do the leak checks on the crew suits, and so we'll be working those later tonight to configure those and check them out and make sure they're ready for when we hook up to the crew on launch day. We'll be powering up some of the Orion guidance systems later tonight as well. We do intend to clear personnel from the pad at about 3 in the morning at that point. And then we'll get ready for our air-to-GN2 changeover at about 4 in the morning. We do that. We purge the vehicle with air routinely for the whole flow. Once we get to this point where we're getting ready to add hazardous propellants like hydrogen, for example, we change over to GN2 to have an inert environment for safety purposes on the vehicle and all of the volumes that are on there. Let's see, later, once we get through the air-to-GN2 changeover and all the other work is done, our launch director will have a final weather brief, and once we get out of that, she'll signal the team that we are ready to start our propellant loading, and that's scheduled to occur at about 7:34 tomorrow morning. That loading takes a little over 5.5 hours. We'll work through that. As mentioned yesterday by the launch director, we have inserted some time in front of that propellant loading time frame, so that if we are in fact done with all of the work and are ready to go and we can start a little bit early, like a few minutes, we will try to take that and take every bit of time that we can to get ready and prepared for the crew and be prepared for anything else that might happen. So we did that purposefully to give ourselves a little bit of room in that time frame based on the launch director's guidance. Let's see, during the propellant loading, the flight crew will wake up at about 9:45 tomorrow morning. They'll have breakfast and start working towards their preparations for launch day, and getting their suits on and doing all the other work that they have to get ready to head out to the pad. And then once we get to all stages replenish, which is a little after almost 1:15 in the afternoon tomorrow, we'll send a closeout crew to the pad. All stages replenish is when we're done tanking, essentially. We filled all the propellant onto the core stage and the upper stage ICPS, and at that point we're only just replenishing the propellant that's boiling off at the same rate, so we keep it full. We do lose quite a bit of propellant during that time frame, and so we will continue to just work that throughout. After that, we'll send a flight crew to the pad. They're going to head out a little before 2 o'clock and to get into the spacecraft. As I mentioned, the closeout crew is going to go out before them, so they'll have been working that time to prepare the capsule for the flight crew arrival. And then the flight crew will get out there, and then I'll work in the insertion portion, in which we're going to strap the flight crew members into the seats of Orion, and after that we'll do the final closeouts in the crew module. We'll close the hatches. There's some pressurization checks we do and some other things and at the end, and then we'll clear the white room and then get ready to get into terminal count. Our closeout crew clears the white room at about 5:30 tomorrow night. It's almost an hour before launch. That's our plan time. After that point, we'll finish the rest of the work and configurations that we can do remotely, and then, excuse me, we'll proceed into the launch team poll, and then after that, the launch director will perform her management poll, and then we'll get in a terminal count for the last 10 minutes of launch countdown. So that's essentially the work ahead of us. And I would say that our team has been working amazingly hard through these weeks and months trying to get this vehicle ready to where it is. We've had some challenges. The team has done an outstanding job managing each and every one of those throughout all of this, through many different scenarios, through weather, through lots of different things that we've had to work through to try to get through all of this and get to where we are today. People are excited and ready to go on this first chapter on our way back to the moon since the 1970s. So we're very excited. So, Mark, over to you.
All right, these are NASA officials talking about the historic Artemis mission to the moon set to launch tomorrow. Officials say that this trip is going to pave the way for a permanent lunar outpost and future missions to Mars. So it'll be very interesting to see when and if the Artemis gets off the ground, scheduled for tomorrow between 6 and 8 p.m. Gwinnett County, closer to home, turning March Madness into a mission to get people back to work. Chris Rosenthal is at this event for us this afternoon.
WorkSource Georgia put out the call to thousands of veterans in Gwinnett County and across Metro Atlanta, and many of them have showed up for this career fair today. Just kind of gives you an idea of really the need for jobs here. Many of those veterans, some of them have served and are looking to transition back into the workforce. Some of them maybe have been in the workforce a while and trying to find new jobs, new opportunities. About 17 different employers showed up here today, from Cisco to the U.S. Army, Gwinnett County Public Schools, Goodwill, Southern Company, giving these veterans a chance to meet with these employers and discuss possible job opportunities for them. And I spoke with some folks here today just about why veterans bring so much to the table.
So we're here at the Technical College System of Georgia. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to kind of share some of the opportunities that are available not only for the public here in Gwinnett County, but also for our veterans, those who are underemployed, looking for some great opportunities. So it's been a great opportunity for us to kind of be able to kind of share what we have here at GCSG, and also to kind of partner with some of our other employer partners.
Why hire veterans? What do they bring to the table?
They have the experience. So right now they're kind of an underserved area, underserved niche in the job market. So being able to kind of tap into those skills, the abilities that they bring in, being able to kind of share some of their experience with some of the jobs that we have, and being able to find that perfect match. So it's been a great opportunity for us.
Are they unique?
Very unique. And so again, they come in with a lot of skills, a lot of strategic partnerships, strategic opportunities. So being able to kind of take some of those skills, being able to kind of merge those with some of the roles that we currently have. So they do bring a lot of great experience to these roles.
What are some of the opportunities out there for them?
So right now, there's a plethora of them. Definitely kind of looking at, project management, some of those roles. Also, customer service, HR, logistics are some of those roles that they really kind of help bridge some of those gaps. So we're looking for for some of the roles that are kind of, we're still looking for people to fill.
Yeah, and that's, it sounds like it's sort of entry level all the way up, huh?
Entry level all the way up, and so again, there's a lot of opportunities there for the veterans to kind of get in, find those roles. So whatever level, we always have some opportunities available.
And again, some of the veterans here today are transitioning out of the service and into the workforce, and some of them have been in the workforce a while and are just looking for new opportunities. I spoke with some of those veterans here today.
Looking for a new opportunity. Was let go from my prior employment, and looking for a new opportunity to expand on my skill set.
A lot of people out of work. I mean, just looking around this room, what are some of the challenges in the job market today?
Well, I would say maybe my experience might be a little too extensive for the entry points that I'm trying to go into recently, but I'm a resilient guy. I keep trying.
Does being a veteran make you resilient too?
Oh yes, most certainly. Most certainly. We don't give up. We continue.
Why hire veterans?
Because we know what sacrifice is, we know what teamwork is, and we know what leadership is. And so all those qualities can bring a value add to any organization, I believe.
And if you missed this event today, there are still more opportunities out there. You can go to the WorkSource website and find out more. There are some upcoming events on April 18th and May 9th. Back to you.
All right, Chris Rosenthal. Chris, thanks. The road to the 2026 World Cup is running right through Atlanta tonight. We'll tell you more about that on the other side of the break. Welcome back. We're all looking forward to the World Cup coming our way in just a couple of months, but the festivities are actually kicking off tonight. The U.S. men's national team back at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for a high-stakes friendly match against Portugal. Let's get out to Kelly Price. Kelly, a huge test for the squad. You're actually on your way. Give us a little entree or a preview to tonight's matchup.
Yeah, actually, I want to see if I can show you guys, flip the camera out actually as we're driving. There's already fans, as you can kind of see. There's already for a ton of fans as USA is about to play Portugal, the 5th ranked team in the world right now. They will be without Cristiano Ronaldo, who is obviously the star player, one of the best footballers in the world. So that is kind of a bummer for fans who maybe wanted to see him. But as we're driving downtown now, I already see all kinds of soccer fans who are going to be here. So there seemed to be a really good crowd. I wasn't there last Saturday when the U.S. men played Belgium, but there seemed to be a really good crowd. So I'm excited to see what it looks like tonight at the Benz.
Do you think a lot of folks bought tickets to this matchup thinking that they were going to see Cristiano Ronaldo?
I think that's definitely a possibility. I think he's been injured for a bit of time, so it's not like a game time decision or something that became a last minute bit of news. But I mean, Portugal's one of the biggest teams in the world, and I think that their fan base travels well regardless.
Give us a little flavor. I mean, you showed us a little bit of downtown there, headed to the Benz for tonight's matchup. But there were quite a bit of people there on the streets. Imagine, all right, what downtown is going to look like come June and into July when the World Cup qualifying matches are actually here.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. It's going to be a bunch of mini Super Bowls that Atlanta is hosting once the World Cup kicks off. I mean, we're, 2.5 months out now, so things are really starting to get serious. And these kinds of matches, as well as the Club World Cup that they held here a couple of months ago, are great tune-ups, not just for the players that are going to be playing on the pitch tonight, but for, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the local businesses here, the stadium itself, all the operations that go into putting all these games together, the parking, as we're kind of pulling in our parking garage. All of these facets there's a lot of new kind of pieces. I know like the Centennial Yards situation is obviously developing as well. Hopefully the lighting is still okay because we're going into a parking garage now. But all these things are also tune-ups for all of these vendors and whatnot, as well as the players, as everyone gets ready for the World Cup to come here in a couple months.
Well, we can see you great. It's like candlelit Kelly. But it's a good point. It's a good point that you make, Kelly, because not only are these teams sort of gearing up for the real matches, the big matches, the matches that count, but this is sort of a good dry run for the Benz, stadium officials, vendors, people out in where you are, and even in the parking garages, the hospitality teams around the city ready to receive all of these people.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget that the real thing at play here is obviously going to be the players on the pitch tonight as well. And this is a huge tune-up for all the pieces that you were just describing, but also for the U.S. men's team, because they just got blasted by Belgium, the 9th ranked team in the world, the other day, 5-2. And that was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of these guys. A lot of guys calling it a reality check. They feel like they got embarrassed. And so now they feel like they have a little bit to prove. And the head coach even said, hey, I'm kind of actually happy this happened when it did, because now we're going to be able to really fine-tune our focus, increase our intensity, and really kind of get that reality check. And here's some players talking about how matches like this are anything but friendly.
These aren't friendlies, and that's something that Mauricio has made very clear to all of us. It's a more of a non-official game. They're obviously games that are preparing us for the World Cup, and so you look at the result and nobody's happy about it. There's a lot of disappointment, but you have another game right away that you can go and you try to put things right and start to build that momentum.
It takes time. I know we don't have that much time left, but I know that when we're able to play in these high-level games, and I think when you're able to get good performances and good results against high-level teams, I think it definitely gives you confidence.
So time is definitely ticking down for these guys as they prepare for the World Cup. Their first match is just 2.5 months away. They also have 2 more friendly matches outside of Atlanta. They'll be playing Synagogue and Germany in the next 2 months. Those are 2 more top 15 teams in the world. So again, top 5 team tonight.
People living in one county get some relief after porch pirates are taken off the streets by police. The details behind their arrests next at 4.
And Christine, we're tracking scattered showers, particularly down to the south. Warm temperatures elsewhere. How does that translate into your Easter weekend forecast? That's next on Fox 5 News at 4.
Regé-Jean.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what else?
The washer and dryer, Your Honor.
Oh, now that would be a big item. That would have come out of my mouth first. Washer and dryer, when did you buy it?
The end of April.
Fine, I'd like to see the receipts for it.
I have the statement receipt from the person I bought it from.
I don't read statements from the person you bought it from.
I had a friend that was moving out of his house. I told him that I was moving into this new house that I had. He said, I have some stuff maybe you would like to want or use for your house.
I don't believe a word you're saying, Mr. Ball. You're getting the stuff that she has in the garage. Right now, you're...
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.